Welcome back, my fellow Aeternians. As always, it's me, Emperor AP. Today, we are having another live stream to update you all on the Empire's progress, what we are up to, how we've been doing, and ultimately what a little bit of today is like. You know, a lot of the time when we do different streams, when we do different topic videos, life where I just explain kind of what my mindset is day to day, the way that I go through things, and the ultimate questions and things that I try and work on as a micronationalist. Grand Pharaohate of I apologize, I may be mispronouncing. Mu Hipai says, hi, hey, Grand Pharaohate, how are you? It's good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us, and if you enjoy the live stream, please definitely like the video. It helps a lot. I'm excited to see we have two people in the chat. If anybody has any questions or any like topics that they want covered specifically, today I wanted to make a stream specifically to do that. Um, Gore says, hey AP, like the Gorthian makeover? I haven't been able to check it out yet, but I sure will soon. Retro said, hello AP, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Vincent, it's good to see you. If you guys don't know, Vincent is our most recent citizen and contributor to our Patreon campaign as well. For just $1 a month, people can become citizens. But as well, Vincent is particularly unique because he's going above and beyond that. He's trying to help us develop some different things in our nation. He has been pitching a ton of ideas to us even before he was a citizen. And that's the kind of cool engagement that we need. That's the way that we grow our community. He's also not local to us, but he's not too far away. So there may be times in the future where we can collaborate in person, which is exciting and a huge advantage for us. So that all being the case, again, today, if there are any questions anybody has, Vincent, I know you are new to the Empire, so if you have any questions as a citizen, I think that would bring a lot of good insight to the community as to how Aeternia runs, anything that I may not be able to think of from just having been in this for years and years. And as well, anything that anybody from outside of Aeternia, any other micronations, or anybody who's new to the community may have about learning about micronations, developing them. Again, today I just kind of wanted to show some of the things we're working on, some behind the scenes stuff that you guys wouldn't otherwise be able to see that we're going to wait until later to post full videos on. I just want to kind of give you some of the process because even right now we're working on the very first day of footage that we took over at our land. So we really try and do a lot to put into what we can for those videos, and these edited videos I'm trying to make nice. So there are some parts that are animated, which I'm really excited about. There are some parts that just show the actual live footage of what we were doing that day, and this is just the bare bones basics of the first day that we've been. We've been probably like 9 or 10 times since we purchased the land and actually had days of development. So things have progressed significantly from what you guys are going to see in that first video. That being the case, we've also done a ton of stuff that hasn't been directly on the land, but that's been used for the land. And I keep saying the land. I want to specify that the name that we are calling this territory of Aeternia is Vitae. Vitae in Latin, I believe, means life, or someone's existence, someone's vitality. And so that's the idea of Vitae, to create a new life for people, to allow people to come there and live and prosper and do well. Vitae is our by far most exciting project. It's something we've been pushing for years and years, and now we have all these different things that we're trying to put together here and put together there to make it come together and work. Again, the biggest thing that we've been working on with an actual development for our territory of Vitae has been the setup of a structure, of some sort of shelter for us, Aeternia's first dwelling. This is going to be really bare bones and basic because we don't have a lot of money to invest in infrastructure right now. So a lot of it is using what we have on the land, a natural approach to creating something that can allow us to camp out there and start to work for several days at a time. The land that we have is over an hour away from us, one way. So it's depending on where you're coming from. So it's a bit difficult to get out there and work really frequently. It'd be nice if we had somewhere that we could stay and be able to work for a few days and then drive back. It makes it so much more efficient. That being the case, we have been working on other things to help supplement that and make that easier. So not only do we need this shelter, but we need a source of fresh water. Our territory of Vitae, like many territories that people will purchase, won't have a natural body of water right next to it. So we have to have some way to collect and use water. Vitae is not connected to any grid water system or plumbing system. The only thing that it can get through the county that it is in is electric. Even that, though, we are trying to before we start purchasing and using electrical power there, we're trying to set up off-grid solar and other renewable energy sources to give us that head start that we need to continue developing and to push our progress. So, as you guys have seen in a previous video that we just dropped, we have been doing plenty with that renewable energy system. Again, we have a solar panel that we're actually using today, once again, to charge another one of our batteries. We're up to three large lead acid car batteries, and one right now that we're trying to charge up that's a smaller, kind of in between, something between a car battery um, and like a lawnmower battery. It's kind of a medium-sized battery that we're going to be using up and charging as well. We have a total of 10 batteries that we're trying to repair and ultimately end up using, which will be a significant amount of energy storage for us. And with the buildup of continual solar panels should help a lot with our energy storage purposes. So that'll be something that we can finish developing and move out to the land, hopefully within the next few weeks. The same thing with a water storage system. You guys haven't been able to see this a ton, but we have more dealing with actual rainwater collection and storage. We bought a 55-gallon barrel. Actually, we didn't buy it. We got them for free. We got a 55-gallon barrel and a 33-gallon barrel that we got literally from a car wash, like from a place that was just trying to get rid of them for free on Facebook Marketplace. So we've been able to find a lot of stuff that we are being able to develop with and start working with without spending any money. You know, it's difficult because that's what we have to do. It'd be a lot easier and quicker to just buy all of these things. But in the long run, I think it's a better way to recycle for us. It's a better way to use what we have naturally, and it's also a better way to get more out of the money that we have. I know myself as a micronationalist, I don't have a ton of money to spend on things, and I think many other micronations are the same way. So I really hope this is effective for the community, that you all get to see what we're doing to try and find different things in an affordable and reasonable way, and that you can use that for your approach instead of just saying, oh, well, damn, I need $25,000, I need $50,000, I need $100,000 to be able to do all of this stuff. You can start doing it right now today. Let's go ahead and read some stuff. Again, I will have to see the Gorthian makeover soon. That's a great question. I haven't seen a ton from it. And again, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please like it. It helps a lot. Puffy Duck says, hey, Puffy, it's good to see you. Have you joined our streams before? I'm not sure that I recognize your name, but maybe you've come in before under another name. If you don't know, we are Micronations. Specifically, I am the Emperor of the Empire of Aeternia, a micronation that's been going on for 5 years in total, getting close to our 6-year anniversary in August, but we're at 5 years right now, 5.5. We are actually 3 years on YouTube, getting close to 4 years on YouTube. So this is absolutely an incredible time to be witnessing some of the stuff that we're doing, because we just were able to purchase a piece of land for ourselves to be able to live and work as micronationalists more completely. That being Vitae, the territory that I was talking about a moment ago. It is a completely undeveloped piece of land that we purchased that we are trying to develop into a homestead for myself and my family, as well as to be able to start to invite other citizens to come and live on the land. Right now we have 10 viewers, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all are appreciating being able to ask some questions, being able to hang out and see what we're doing behind the scenes for the development of our land. So if you like this video, please do like it. It helps to spread it out, it helps to let people know what we're doing, and to get more people in the stream, because I want to answer more micronational questions and show you guys what we're doing. Fairlight says, LOL, it's hard to pronounce, I'll give you that. That's fair, but I do appreciate it. Gore says, I'm going live on TikTok in an hour. Hey, congratulations. Gorth, how do you do that? Do you have over 1,000 viewers on TikTok? Do you have over 1,000 subscribers? Because that's one of the things that we would love to do, is to go live on TikTok, but we don't have the numbers. So maybe Gorth has just blown up. Francisco says, well, hello. Hello, Francisco. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Elijah says, hello. Hello, Elijah. It's always good to see you. Manu says, micronation, noun, is a nation that is micro. I appreciate that, and I think to some degree that's accurate, but I think a lot of the things that micronations do are actually really progressive and are things that even macronations cannot accomplish because of the niche and because of the size that they're working with. So don't downplay micronations to any degree. We come in and we do serious work. And we're able to do it on a local level that impacts a lot of people in a way that sometimes macronations or even state or city governments can't do. So we have the ability, though it's all on our own, though it's something that we have to figure out ourselves, we have the ability to try and push forward and make some real change for our local communities. And that's what I think a lot of people are interested in. Francisco says, hello from Divided Federation of Rhodesia and Yara. Hey, very cool. I remember Yara and you talking about Yara. Why is it now Rhodesia and Yara? Hit us up with the backstory on that. Puffy Duck retracted their message. I want to know what you said, Puffy Duck. We miss you. Retro says, I'm making an HO scale Western General Store model, so I think I'll think of some questions as I work on it. Hey, very cool. That sounds exciting. Good luck with your scale model, Vincent, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. Post it in the Discord if you can. I think it'd be cool to see. Manu says, Franco divided. Francisco said, yes, divided. Oh, interesting. And Puffy Duck retracted 2 messages now. Puffy Duck, where are you going on us? Francisco says, it is divided by monarchist government and republican government. Oh, interesting. So instead of having like one party that like wins out or trying to like figure that out, y'all just divided it. You said, there's too much difference, there's too much chaos, let's just split it. Has that worked out? Has that caused more chaos? Have you been able to like pass laws and get things done? Gorth says, Gorth is not eligible to do agriculture because of the land we bought, and we have a natural body of water. Hey, very cool. Is now eligible to do agriculture. Hey, that's awesome. Congratulations, Gorth. I'm excited to see progress. Retro says, I did have an idea for a water wheel system without constant flowing water source. It utilizes gravity. Absolutely. That's something that a weighted water wheel is something that's absolutely something that is possible. If you have watched our previous micro hydropower system, we were doing effectively the same thing where we would use water from a rain gutter, which we got from another YouTube channel here, The Idea For. And we would just wait until there was a heavy rain, have a specific downspout from a gutter come, and turn that wheel whenever it generated some power, or whenever it, had a heavy rain to generate some power. You could do the same thing by, having the rain collected in a big bucket or a barrel, and then have it turn the turbine as well. Francisco says, we made a little hydropower plant. We use it for electricity. It's called Rashimadam. It's named after the main god in Yaran paganism. Hey, very cool. Congratulations. That's what I was going to say as well, Vincent. That's pretty much the way that dams work. You just fill up some storage container, a dam, big bucket, whatever you want, and the higher the water level, the more pressure that creates because of the force of gravity. So the acceleration due to gravity on the mass. So as that continues to move down, the higher you stack that thing, the more pressure you get. Then you release that out of the bottom. It comes out at a high pressure, spins your turbine. That's a great idea, though. President Baliga says hi. Hello, President Baliga. Gorthian Federation says hi, President Baliga. Connor says, can you look at my application for diplomatic relations? I sure can. I appreciate that. That's something that, again, we've been having to get through like a lot of people's applications. We've been starting to work on it. But yes, we have a few to catch up on, and we are getting to yours soon, Connor. I appreciate it. If you can tell me the name of your nation again, because it slips my mind sometimes, I would appreciate it so that I can make sure to look out for yours. Puffy Duck says, yes, I know I applied for citizenship a few months ago. Can you please reply? Hey, Puffy Duck, what is your name? Hit us up. I would love to reply to your citizenship application. Sometimes I send an email and people don't always email back. So I think we've gone through all the citizenship applications. Maybe for some reason I mistyped your email or something like that. If you can let us know what's going on and just, let me know what the... let me know in some way. Maybe if you can email us at aeternianempire@gmail.com, we can get your information, focus on that, and make sure to reply to you and look back over it. But I will go back through and look at all the applications just to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Also, guys, I appreciate you watching. We got 9 viewers, 4 likes. Again, if you could like the stream, it helps a lot to get people in here, to get us having more questions in, and to help spread the name of micronationalism. Baliga says, hi, Gorth. Hey, good to see you, Baliga. Maurice says, hi from Germany. Ooh, very cool. It's good to see a German micronation here. The other night, in fact, last night, we were doing a Twitter space with a number of different micronations, one of whom was from Japan. And there was an incredible language barrier that made it difficult to progress the conversation at some point. But it was really wonderful to be able to hear that the micronational community is flourishing all around the world. and that we have different people who are really interested in engagement, not just in their local community, but across the water, all across the globe. It was incredible to see. They were talking specifically about how they were interested in reaching out to other micronations in Europe and the United States, and just Western micronations in general. So I'm really glad to see a German micronation here. I'm curious to learn about Germany's perspective on micronationalism and your perspective on micronationalism as being a German micronation. Are there a lot of German micronations? Do you feel like micronationalism in Germany is different than it may be in other places? Let us know. I'm curious on the unique perspective. Elijah says, as well, I don't think we have a German micronation on our micronational map. So if you go to our website, wix.com backslash wix.aeternianempire.com backslash imperial market. Link should be on our about us on our YouTube. You can check that out. You can apply for our micronational map, and we will throw your German micronation on our world map. Elijah says, how much money did it cost for the whole solar setup? $0. $0. That's the thing. So I will explain. If you rewatch one of our previous videos, the one that just has solar on the thumbnail, we actually built that for free. We built a small solar panel that we actually have more solar panels. We're going to be adding to that to upgrade that. But that's a DIY solar panel we made specifically through the little garden lights, little garden night lights that you can effectively have in your yard that charge up with a small solar panel during the day. And then they run like a single LED at night, and they're just to light pathways and gardens. The batteries, Tiffany's family had a whole bunch of those around here whose batteries died, and so they could no longer be used unless you went and replaced the batteries and cleaned them, and they didn't want them anymore. So they were just going to throw them away. I instead removed all the solar panels and ended up adding those solar panels together to make a large 12-volt solar panel that could charge those lead-acid batteries that we have. In addition to that, when her parents found out that we were doing that, they actually gifted us another 2 solar panels, which were things that they had purchased through manufacturers for different uses over the years that they ended up not really utilizing. So that's going to be a big help for us. One of those is a large one that we have over here. It's maybe about, I say large, it's maybe about this big. It outputs like 17 volts at its peak efficiency, and at 1 amp, something like that. Not super powerful, but something that certainly helps us with quickly charging these batteries. We can get one of our lead acid batteries so long as it's functional, and we can set it up out here like we have right now and charge it throughout the day, just very slowly building up that voltage until it gets to 12 or 13 volts. And then once we have that, we can hook it up together to other lead acid batteries to make a nice energy storage system. And that's what we've been doing thus far. Gorse says, I have 800 followers. I don't know how I can go live, but I am blowing up. Hey, congratulations, Gorse. I'm glad to see you. It's really cool to see other micronations doing well, especially on other platforms. Again, I don't know a ton about TikTok, but I want to get bigger on TikTok because I want to be able to go live. I know TikTok is a great place for not only seeing cool content and like getting out stuff micronationally, but also the live streams. I always see cool TikTok live streams popping off. So congratulations on that. Baliga says, we are looking to make an image for Dr. Baliga currently to increase culture. Very cool. So I see DR. Do you mean Dr. Baliga or like Baliga Drive, like it's a road? Please tell me more. Manu says, how do you spell the name of the land? Vitae. 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 Retro says, same idea, however, you don't have to wait for it to rain, as the water wheel will operate a pump to pump it back to the water container, and so you have more or less constant water source in theory. That's kind of difficult, right? Because if you have a constant, well, if you're running a pump, then the pump uses electricity based on the laws of thermodynamics and energy conservation and physics. You can't have something that is a perpetual motion machine. So you can't have something that ever creates more energy than it uses. You just have to have a source that supplies a lot of energy, and then you siphoning energy away from that source. So if you were to have like a bucket of water, right, and you held it at some height, and then you had that bucket, pressurize a stream of water, shoot a stream of water onto a turbine and spin the turbine. Then if you had a source at the bottom, another bucket that you collected it in, if you tried to pump the water back up with an electrical pump, for example, to get it back to that top storage container to start the process again, it would take you more electrical energy to do that than you would get out from spinning the water wheel because of losses in the water wheel and because of losses in the pumps that you're generating. So that may not necessarily be a great idea, but just capturing that in the water and being able to use it as an energy storage device and releasing it is certainly a method that we have done before, as we've done on our micro hydro setup. You can check out again on some of the other videos we've done. And I definitely appreciate it. I'm excited that you're thinking out of the box and trying to start new stuff. Um, Francisco says, yes, it's bad, very bad. We were once united in government, but then a corrupted prime minister forced every prime minister, member of parliament of my party to vote for his proposal. His proposal was to make a federation of monarchy under Christine I. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting development. So it was people who were connected to another micronation who ended up like sabotaging your nation. I will say that's one thing that's really difficult about micronationalism and specifically about citizenship. That's something that I have always set up and been concerned about with the development of our micronation, which is specifically why we have developed the way that we do. In our citizenship application, it says, in plain English up at the top, that you cannot be a part of another micronation and a part of the Empire of Aeternia. So you can have your macronational citizenship. You can be a citizen of the U.S. like I am and the Emperor of Aeternia, or a citizen of Aeternia, or so on and so forth. But you cannot be for example, a citizen of Gorth and a citizen of Aeternia at the same time. Just because there is that possibility that a conflict of interest could arise where somebody's working for one micronation more than another, and so they start to like sabotage each other. Not saying that happens all the time, and in many cases it doesn't, but there every once in a while can be spout-ups of issues like that, especially as nations grow larger and larger. The other thing that limits that is simply because people can't spend a ton of time on micronationalism. Most people are not getting paid to run and to support micronations, and so many times it's not feasible for them to divide up their time, or not efficient for them to divide up their time between 7 different micronational projects, because they're a citizen of one and a government official in another and a leader in another and so on and so forth. It's much more efficient for us to say we will wait on those people who choose to dedicate their time that they spend in micronationalism specifically to the progress of Aeternia. So as that continues, as that develops, we really want to make sure that as Aeternia grows, its citizens are dedicated specifically to Aeternia, not just to micronationalism, but to the development of Aeternia as an investment in their futures. And that's something that I think a lot of micronations feel uneasy about, because there is, for some reason, this designed culture in micronationalism. And I think it's out of necessity. It's out of this concept that people feel really desperate for citizens, especially when they first start out. And so citizenship rules are really, really lax. Even in the Empire of Aeternia, our citizenship requirements when we first got started were literally all subscribers to the YouTube channel are our citizens. And then as we moved further and further along, we started to restrict what those actual updated citizenship requirements were, until we get to this point where we're saying not only do you have to be 100% dedicated to the Empire of Aeternia in being a citizen of it, but you also need to either be paying a tax to us via Patreon, a citizenship tax, which is $1 a month or $12 a year for the lowest tier of that. Or as well, you can forego that citizenship tax altogether by just doing something economically productive in our micronation, whether that's running a business, whether that's, running something for our YouTube channel, creating posts for us and stuff like that, something that we can use that helps to make our lives a little bit easier. That makes every single citizenship in Aeternia economically valuable. That means that the more citizens we have that actually fit those criteria, it has a real definitive, calculable, I should say, effect on our strength, our capabilities. It is a resource that we can really use to strategize for our future. Whereas a lot of citizenships, you'll see micronations with hundreds of citizens who can't really you can't really determine how capable they are of doing things simply by their citizenship counts, because many citizens may be inactive, many citizens may not be participating in that micronation because they've joined other micronations. So it's really difficult to know unless you really figure out specifics for your nation. Hold up. Gore says, in case you didn't notice, Gore transformed into a federation. Hey, I do see the Gorthian Federation name. That's cool. I guess I thought when you were talking about makeover that you were talking specifically about the concept of, like, you know, a new flag and new things on your TikTok, which I have not been able to check out. But I do want to start plugging TikTok and trying to get bigger on TikTok. So, Gorth, I appreciate you helping us. You have been really plugging us on your TikTok, which helps us out a ton. We need to get more stuff on TikTok out there, so maybe we can do continued collaborations. Maybe, you know, are you able to add us onto a live stream that you do? Like, if you did a live stream on TikTok, even if we don't have 800 subscribers or whatever, 1,000 subscribers, could we still, like, become a part of your TikTok? Because that's one of the things I'm excited about. On TikTok, once you get to the point where you can start to do streams, I've seen people who have other people just join their stream and, like, video chat right then and there. And I think that's a super cool feature that I would love to have a part of it, because normally we're having to do setups where we have, like, my phone right here and then I have my computer over there, and I'm trying to, like, get both things set up. If I could do it all from TikTok, that would be amazing. And so I'd love to learn from you, Gord. Baliga says, sorry for not attending Twitter Spaces. My current activity is strange. I'm writing a news article a day for Baliga, but I am not active really other than that. That's exciting, though. We actually have Saban. The Saban Sheep is the news program that is running articles about Aeternia as well. And so Saban has been an interesting nation that's been developing their social media as well through writing news articles. And that's really cool to see. So I definitely think investing in news is worthwhile and is an exciting way to build up and develop your culture. So I wish you all the congratulations for that. Connor says, my nation is named Cotter Minisland. Oh, yes. Yes, my apologies, Connor. I do remember Cotter Minisland. You invited me to your Discord. I joined your Discord. I've been checking it out a little bit. I still have not, like, come up with a definitive thing for it. So we're, again, still working through the list, but I do have yours, like, on the short list. We're getting close to it. So my apologies for the wait. I know it's been difficult. I do also need to get to some of the citizenship applications. Baliga says, Democratic Republic of Baliga has been shortened to, DR Baliga. Got you. Inside Baliga, DR, Democratic Republic. Got you. My apologies. Maybe capital DR Baliga would work better, says Manu. And I agree with that. I think that kind of, like, gives more clarification, but at the same time, it just slipped my mind. I didn't recognize that right away, but I do appreciate it. Also, 9 viewers, 5 likes. Thank you guys for liking the stream. It really does help to get the word out there. Gorth says, have you heard about Boris Johnson could be committing high treason? He might be trying to turn the UK into a dictatorship. That's crazy. Is that like an official released thing from the government? Like, hey, we think he's committing treason, or is it like a news article that's coming out about it? I don't know a ton about UK politics, so I wouldn't have a ton of opinion on that to be able to weigh in. I don't know a ton about Boris Johnson. I don't know a ton about UK Parliament. I know he is considered a fairly like eccentric kind of radical individual in UK Parliament. He's also a guy who, from my understanding of it, claims to be like an everyman and like a hardworking UK Brit. But at the same time, he is seen in a lot of pictures in, you know, like the most prestigious, most fancy things from his childhood, ranging, you know, from his parents' wealth to you know, different cliques that he was in college. I forget the specific name of the club that he was in, but he was in a club in college specifically for the wealthy and the elite that another prime minister was also a part of at one point, and so it was a significant scandal. Manu says DR can be confused with doctor. Agreed. That's what I thought immediately from looking at it. Baliga says, I know it's just a shorthand for Democratic Republic as it takes time to write. Fair enough. That makes sense. Manu says Gorthian Federation. Really? Yeah, absolutely. Gorth is blowing up. Um, Gorth says at Manu. That's what I heard anyway. Oh, Gorth is blowing up, and also yes, the dictatorship thing. That's interesting. Um, Francisco says AP. He wasn't even a citizen of Psycholia. He was just doing it because he wanted me out of power. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry that that someone was just trying to tear you down, even maybe with not knowing what that ramification would be in supporting and propping up another monarchy. That's rough. I would say just remove that person. Like it sounds like you could just straight up kick that person out unless your micronation is set up for you not to have that power, which seems strange to me. I think many times micronations are small enough groups that there needs to be one person with executive power enough to be able to make decisions like that. But that's also one of the difficulties of democracy in micronationalism, and one of the things that is a larger difficulty to maintain stability in such a small group because if you get 3 or 4 people to vote on something just by kind of swaying their opinion you can all of a sudden get a majority of power potentially. Gorth says, if Gorth ever did collapse, I'm moving straight to Aeternia if citizenship is approved. Hey, I appreciate it. That means a lot. I wish you luck, Gorth. It seems like you're well on your way to doing some exciting stuff. I certainly don't think Gorth has any reason to collapse. And it's also a cool project. I really enjoy it. Keep letting me know, though, if you ever do want to join Aeternia. Aeternia is here for you. Like, we got you. And it seems like you're good at social media stuff. So you would be a great asset for us. And I'm sure there are other people who are a part of Gorth who would be as well. Retro said, me going above and beyond, starting a business, becoming a citizen, and helping governmentally, I'm definitely putting in all as much as I can. You are 100%. I would say you don't need to feel like you're taking in all those roles at once, though. We have had people who have had like quick burnout because of that exact thing, where it's like, I will be approving or saying yes to different things that they're doing, or I'll be trying to spitball ideas to people of like, hey, well, maybe you could do this, maybe this would be a good fit. But I don't want you to feel like, any of these things are like demands of the emperor or anything like that, that these are things that you feel obligated to do. Keeping basic citizenship requirements as far as either paying the tax or being a part of some sort of regular routine work are necessities. But anything outside of that, don't feel like if you are running out of time or energy that you need to necessarily be a part of the government, that you necessarily need to do any of these things all together. Like if I think the best thing is whatever you want to focus on, you pick one thing and focus on that. So if it's media, let's get you focused on media. If it's your business, let's get you focused on your business. I just don't want you to have a situation where you feel like you can't reasonably put time into one or the other because there's this constant dividing of your time in it. We of course want to be able to grow that position as much as possible. So it's hard to continue to grow something while you're also trying to juggle multiple things. And so I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by that at all. Manu says, some micronational Discord servers that I get invited to give me a citizen role out of nowhere. Absolutely, and that's I think part of their advertising campaign, right? That's part of the reason why we stopped advertising, allowing advertising of Discord roles and other things in general in our server, because a lot of the time we would have people who, for example, that exact thing has come up before, where a citizen will say, hey, I joined another, I'm a citizen of Aeternia. I joined another Discord server and I became a citizen of their server. Does that make my citizenship void here? And it's like, well, technically, yes. So you would have to like reject their citizenship and like dip out or like remove the role from yourself in order to like stay in Aeternia, which is rough. But the other thing is, a lot of the time people will just be trying to inflate their numbers. Even if somebody doesn't stay in for more than a day, or even if they stay in but they're not really active on their server, people will just say, hey, everybody, come to our server real quick. There's something crazy that you have to see. There's this war going on, or this is this really big conflict, or we did some crazy technology thing, or I need to ask people's questions about our flag, and they'll jump in. And then all of a sudden it's like, cool, now we have 300 citizens because we got 70 more people to like jump in today just by like pinging the server really hard. So I think that's something that is really concerning. People use that to inflate their numbers, and then they'll just keep that number, whatever the highest number of citizens they've gotten is. and it's concerning. So instead of doing that, we like to talk to people. If anybody wants to advertise something or wants us to shout something out, they can reach out to us directly, and then we can do that through the server. So we have, I think, one of the more strict servers as far as the micronational community goes, but we also have, I think, one of the more regulated. We still get hit with trolls. We still get hit with a whole bunch of difficulty, but a lot of the time, our server is a pretty active place that's fairly tame, I would say, for the community. Um, Francisco says he will be put on trial and he will be convicted. He must be punished. Ooh, I would say this. So punishment's weird in micronationalism because people have the freedom to come and go. So I think you could put like a demand on that person. You could say something like, if you want to still be a citizen of our nation, you're gonna have to pay us money. There's like a fine that you've accrued, or there's some sort of particular thing that you have to do. You're on some kind of probation or whatever. You have really restricted roles and abilities in this nation. But at the same time, I think there's a limit to what you can do beyond that because you can say, hey, well, you broke our laws, but at any point that person can just leave and there's not really much you can do about it, especially if that person's under the age of 18, they haven't signed contract, whatever legal age to enter into legal contracts are, if they haven't signed a contract with you to do anything, and you can't prove that they in any way like damaged you financially, it's really difficult to have any legal repercussion there. So most of the time, it's just you're upset with that person, you throw them out. Is pretty much the punishment. Gorthian, and we've had to do that a couple times. Gorthian Federation says Aeternia Gorth live collaboration. Yes, please, Gorth. Again, like hit me up whenever you would want to do that. Let me know. If you're going live today, I would hit you up for a little bit because I think it'd be cool. One, to see how a goodness, TikTok live stream works, and also to try and get us up in the numbers on TikTok so that we can start doing TikTok live streams. I think that's really cool. Beliga says, gotta go for a bit. Just heard that while leaving, why did Boris Johnson do that if he did? Great question. We will figure it out when you jump back. Puffy Duck says, message retracted. Beliga says, that's scary. I agree, Beliga, that is rough. Puffy Duck says, I have a YouTube channel that I can promote Aeternia on. Hey, Puffy Duck, that would mean a lot. That helps us out a ton. What kind of YouTube channel do you have? Is it a micronational YouTube channel? What you up to? Anytime you can share Aeternia and stuff, it helps us out a ton because we're trying to reach 4,000 watch time hours a year. I've talked to people about that previously where like the more that we have this viewer number, right now we have 10 viewers. The more that we have that viewer number up, the more it is a multiplier on the amount of live stream time we're actively doing. So right now we've been streaming for a little over 30 minutes. 30 minutes times 10 viewers, that's a 10 times multiplier. So that's effectively us streaming, if we had 10 viewers for the entire 30 minutes, for 5 hours of live stream content. So that's absolutely incredible. But it's something that is still significantly difficult for us to do. Well, not quite 5 hours of live stream content, but a significant amount of live stream content. It's something that's quite difficult for us to deal with because we have to maintain that every single day. I think I told somebody the other night we have to have 11 watch time hours, 11 new watch time hours every single day just in order to keep on track to get that 4,000 watch time hours. That's not even getting it quick. That's getting it on the nose at a year mark, 4,000 watch time hours a year. That's just scraping by. But we only have to hit that number once. So the more that we can inflate these streams, the more we can get people asking good questions, liking the videos so that we can spread the community out more, the quicker we can hit that. Once we hit that, we apply, we get it, and then we're able to generate a small amount of revenue just from these streams, just from shouting out other people's channels, just from talking about micronationalism, just from doing bigger and crazier things with Aeternia. We can get a small amount of income to help our growth and development, and help micronational growth and development as a whole. Gore says if the UK did go dictator mode, Goth would be planning a revolt, and we would be carried out by 2030. We aren't scared of death. We do it for the fatherland and the freedom of our people. I would say, Gore, that's a little extreme. I 100% understand, like, if your country becomes a dictator, wanting a dictatorship, wanting to get out of there, wanting to, like, support your family and protect yourself. but I would say don't resort to violence. Macronations all the time love to resort to violence. I would say get out of there. You know what I mean? Like if it legitimately did come to that point where you were scared for your safety and well-being, I would say don't attack your fellow citizens. Don't attack people who are in the military or whatever who feel like they're supporting their government and their regime by doing that. Just leave. If you can afford to, if there's some way that you wanted to come to Eternia, we could like try and help you out with that at some point. It would be difficult. It'd have to be a really extreme circumstance, but resorting to violence is always going to one, more than likely paint you as the bad guy, which is rough, and two, will make a bad name for the community because then it seems like, oh well, micronations are just these really like radical extreme groups, and that's not how we want to be seen. It's always better to live through a thing and be able to make a name for yourself and speak out against the injustices that have been done to you than resort to violence and get destroyed and get hurt, and be labeled as the terrorists that we killed. Don't do that. Don't resort to violence. There are better, more effective ways to fight things legally than there are with weaponry. So I understand your passion and I support your patriotism for Gorth, but violence is not the way. Ari says hi. Hey Ari, how are you? Retro says, oh, I'm trying my best to make Eternia more of a fully functional nation. I appreciate that. I consider us a fully functional nation. So that's one of the things that's interesting. Of course, we're trying to grow larger and larger, and I appreciate you helping out with that. But at the same time, one of the things I've learned as a micronationalist is trying to push too hard creates more problems than it solves. Of course, you want to have as much drive and as much energy as you can. I work on Aeternia literally every single day of my life. If I'm not actively making a YouTube video like this, if I'm not actively working on creating some kind of content for the channel to improve things, I am doing something else. There is always something that I am working on. But the biggest issue that we have is making sure that we can maintain a steady growth. So when we get people like you in who are passionate, who are excited about things, we want to find them a position that they are very, very good at. And this goes for any micronation. I recommend you do the same. Don't just rush into, oh, well, we have 6 citizens and they're all really dedicated. We got to keep pushing so we can get 1,000 citizens and we can get 20 acres of land and we can get $40 million. That's pie in the sky dreaming. That's wonderful, and you can reach that eventually. But I would say don't try to push for it tomorrow. Do what you can to have people feel comfortable in the positions that they're in and feel like they can actively grow and that they get some benefit from that. Because even though you can't pay people, even though you may not be able to give people enough consistent support to stay as much as they would for a job, you can still give people plenty of benefits and resources that make them feel a part of the community, that make them more excited to contribute, and allow them the opportunity to continue to invest their time. Because it's hard, if something rough happens in someone's life, they're going to start, shredding the things that they need to make sure that they can focus on what's most important. And so the more important that you can make your micronational community to someone's life, and the more legitimately beneficial that can be to their health and well-being, the more that they are going to be excited to keep that in their list of things they want to pursue, even after difficult circumstances. Burnout, the falling off of citizens is one of the hardest things that micronations have to face, and something that 90+% of micronations, I think, don't have any good way to solve. Even Aeternia struggles with that. So when you talk, Vincent, about having Aeternia be a real, or let me see how you said it, fully functional nation, think that's one of the things that is the most dire, is finding ways to have good citizens who want to stay, who want to be a part of this, and feel that that value is worth it for them to continue investing their time and effort. That's part of the reason we're so excited about having residents on our land, because once we can have residents living there, having a place to live, a shelter that is covered and paid for you, is something that I think a ton of people would trade a lot for and would spend a lot of their time and effort to make sure that they could keep. And it's something that economically is just considered very valuable. So that's a huge, huge opportunity that we can give to people because we were able to make the investments that we were, because we made the sacrifices that we did. And so now that we're in a place to do that, we have to make sure that we have people like you who are excited to continue to develop themselves as Aeternians and continue to push forward, finding a way to focus all of your time and energy into something that you can make really, really good for us. And so one of the big things, talking about your YouTubing and doing live streams for us, that would be huge. Having you, dedicate time and effort to making live stream content for us, that helps us to move the needle on our watch time hours. The other thing, we have a ton of live stream content that we've done. We have a ton of video content that we've recorded that we haven't been able to put out yet, simply because the editing process is really long. So if you are an editor, or if you know anybody who is an editor, that is something that Aeternia is looking to hire for really quickly. And hiring is a difficult thing because as of right now, we can't pay people, so we can't hire people to do that. Immediately, this would be a volunteer position. But one of the first things that we would be looking to actually pay somebody money for once we hit monetization, once we can bring in multiple sources of revenue, is an editor. If we can have an editor for our content, I can film content, we can make things, we can have people do live streams, and then we just send everything to our editor, and they chop up little clips for us to post. They help us to make sure that we have the clean-looking videos, that we're improving our content, that we're working on SEO and stuff like that for our channel, and giving us advice on how to better market ourselves. So an editor is a huge position for us that we really want to fill as quickly as possible. And it's one of the hardest things to get because it is such a valuable position. You pretty much just need to pay somebody because it's so time consuming. Francisco says, problem is I can't. It's over. I already declared another republic. Now there's a dispute. What government is legitimate government? My government or that MP? I would say yours. If it's your thing to start with, most people are probably going to say your government is the legitimate government. Of course, there are fringe groups that can break apart and do whatever they want, but you can just say that you don't legitimize those, that you don't recognize those, they aren't a part of your thing, and you continue on with what you're doing. The more that you let that conflict continue to be something that you're talking about, the more clout you're giving it, the more airtime you're giving it, and the more that people can be swayed to one side or the other. I'd say cut your losses and continue to do stuff. If you feel like you have a better chance to grow without those people, just tell them goodbye. Tell them, don't let the door hit them on the way out. Make sure that you can grow in a way that is important to you and focus on projects that are going to make your nation bigger and better. Don't worry about them. You are the legitimate government of a thing you started. Francisco says, no, he deserves a punishment. He will be exiled and he will return all money he borrowed, money from Reserve Bank of Rhodesia. How did that work? So you gave that person money? Did you make them sign a contract for that? Because that is something, if somebody took out a loan from your nation, if it is a legitimate loan in actual macronational currency, that you made them sign a contract for, that is something that is an economic loss. That is something that you could legitimately go to court over if you had the right documentation and if it was done the right way. Puffy Duck says, usually gaming. Hey, very cool. See, then we would love to work with a channel like yours. One of the hardest things with micronations is to find other channels and other niches who are excited to work with us, because a lot of the time, micronations work with other micronations, which is cool, but we're trying to grow the community and get it bigger and better. So having gaming channels like yours that would say, hey, we're reaching out on the newest the newest PC games, the newest console games, we're doing the newest mobile games, whatever. That's an audience that you have, that you're working with, that we have very little, if any, connection to. Every once in a while, we'll do a Minecraft live stream. Every once in a while, we'll do a Conan Exiles live stream or something like that. But we don't have a ton of connection to the gaming community. So if you want your gaming community to work with the micronational community and vice versa, we can definitely cross-promote each other, and we can definitely try to get things bigger and better on that front. So that's exciting. Grassland... Tushlanasia and New Poland says hi. Hey, how are you? It's good to see you, New Poland. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I think you may be new to this channel. It seems like you're a micronation, so you know what micronationalism is. Of course, we're the Empire of Aeternia, and we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Again, I'm trying to do day-in-the-life stuff, explain to people kind of what we've been up to, and I answer people's questions. So if you have any questions or comments about the community, about what Aeternia does, how long we've been around, what we've been up to, definitely feel free to ask. And if you haven't already, subscribble. We have, I think, 50 or 60% of the viewers of this channel are actually subscribed, and like 40, 45, 50% are not subscribed. So, and that number kind of fluctuates back and forth. So that's like half the viewership of this channel. If the other half subscribed, we'd be doing good. We'd be at almost 2,000 subscribers. So, well, we'd probably be over 2,000 subscribers. So, if you guys are enjoying the content and you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe and definitely like the video to spread it out and to grow the influence of the micronational community. Because whether you believe it or not, your watch time, your likes, your subscriptions are very powerful, and that's what YouTube uses to decide whether or not content is valuable to keep advertising to people. So the longer that we're supported, the more people that we have in the live stream, the more you guys like and subscribe, the more that that algorithm keeps like sharing our content, and they share it to a wider and wider base of people, because they're saying, hey, this group of people liked it, what about this group over there, they'd probably enjoy it, and this one over here, they'd probably enjoy it. And they just start grasping anybody and everybody they can throw that in front of. That's why you'll see plenty of things in your YouTube recommendations that are like weird stuff that just happen to have millions and millions of views, because they're like, this may not be a niche that you care about whatsoever, but it's really popular. And so statistically speaking, you're likely to click on it because it's something that so many other people who didn't care at all about this niche did click on. So if you help us to get our videos out there in front of people, we may just start pulling people into the community who would have never otherwise been a part of it. Franco says, I met an radical Islamist a few months back, he said, and then they didn't continue their thing. I'm curious as to what they said, Francisco. Also, how do you know they were radical? Like, what defines somebody as radical, I guess? Gore says, I'll be going live in about 10 minutes. Oh, goodness, you're going live so soon. Also, how do we become a part of it? Let us know, Gore. We're going to probably continue this stream and keep going with it, but we need to plan. We need to plan a Gorth Aeternia live stream duo on TikTok. Fake Name says, greetings from the Empire of Casnaria. I appreciate you, Casnaria. It means a lot. Thank you so much for supporting us. I've seen you in the live stream as recently as last night. Casnaria is one that definitely does hang out with us regularly. Connor says, I submitted a map application. We are only one of the micronations in Low Iowa since the nation of Illyris was dissolved. Oh, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it. Or were you involved with the nation of Illyris? I hope that nations that do dissolve will come and reach out to us and tell us that they do. A lot of the time they don't, and so it's really difficult because other groups of people will say, hey, this nation dissolved, and we have no idea how to take that, because unless they can prove that they're the person that submitted the application to begin with, if we started going on everybody's thing that says, oh, this nation dissolved or this nation whatever, then we could have situations where people sabotage each other to get them taken off the map. And so we definitely don't want to prematurely take anybody off the map. But if you know those people, tell them to reach out to us and tell us that they are defunct, and we will shut down that point on the map. Fake Name says, Marcus Aurelius was one of the best Roman emperors ever. He was a Stoic philosopher, Stoic in the original sense, not modern Stoic. Micronationalist emperors should be like Aurelius. I definitely think that's interesting. I know Tom was also talking about Marcus Aurelius the other night, and he was really giving a lot of props to him. I don't know a ton about Marcus Aurelius, or Roman history for that matter. I know some. I know especially some of the highlights. But Marcus Aurelius, even though he's one of the more prominent figures in Roman history, I don't know a ton about his philosophy or his rule as a Roman emperor. So I will have to learn more and study up and do my homework. Morgan Schaefer is a question mark. Hey, what's up, Morgan Schaefer? Morgan Schaefer is actually really cool. Morgan Schaefer is someone who hung out with us from Jet's channel. So if you guys don't know, one of my good friends, Jet Black, real life superhero, the one and only. He is somebody who has been doing YouTube for probably a decade longer than I have. His channel has been going on for a very long time, since he's been a kid, and he has always been super, super supportive of my YouTube stuff and of his YouTube stuff, of everything. And he's really, really passionate about his audience. He's the person who taught me, everything I know pretty much about basic YouTube stuff, especially live streaming, reading the comments, making sure to check in with people and talk to people and really care about your community. And so Jet inspired me a ton, and he in fact advertised our channel when we were first going out. When we first really launched the channel and we did a couple live streams with him, my channel went from 0 subscribers to 25 subscribers like overnight, just because a few people who were in the stream decided, what the hell, I'll subscribe. Let's see what happens. And now we're here, and I think that initial kind of burst of subscribers helped us to get a little bit of viewership in the beginning, and helped us to move the needle just a little bit to keep growing. So I always have to thank Jet for that, and I always have to prop out our people like Morgan Schaefer, who came from Jet's channel, like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe, who really are hyping up what we're doing here and coming back and watching our stuff. It's incredible to see a lot of people who come from that era and who jump back and say like, "Whoa, you guys have done so much since then. You guys have actually started doing more and more," and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to impress people who may not normally be a part of the micronational community and show that this is something to take seriously and to keep an eye out for. So, Morgan, have you talked to people about micronationalism since you have seen some of our streams and since you have been a part of our community? And if not, do you think there's something that really wows you about what we're doing, or that would make you eventually start to talk to people who otherwise may not know about it? Francisco says 80% of territory is under their control. I cannot do anything. All infrastructure is in their hands. Only a small part of the capital city is mine. Then I don't know how, uh, that seems weird. How would you give people who didn't start the nation that much control over territory? It sounds like if they have that much control, then nobody really had that much power to begin with, right? And Morgan Schaefer says hi. Hey, Morgan Schaefer, how are you? Fake name says Francisco, I recommend Incursion. It can help you retake control. Fake name and Casteria really pumping out Incursion. That's their idea for using airsoft wars to affect change and effectively do like a micronational war without calling it a war. I don't think it's a bad idea for sure. There are definitely micronational competitions that can work out well, as seen by our Risk tournament. So I wish you guys luck, and I hope that the conflict is resolved soon. Retro says, I'm going to send a picture of the general store when I finish the front wall. Hey, very cool. I'm excited to see it, Vincent. Again, Vincent, one of our newest citizens, our newest citizen actually to date, and he is somebody who's building a cool model of a general store, an Old West general store. Robert says, hi, how are you? Hey, Robert, it's good to see you. Robert, again, I don't think necessarily from Jet's channel, but definitely a longtime viewer of the channel. Somebody who's been hanging out with us for a long time, and I appreciate you guys jumping in. One of the cool things about this stream that we're on right now, we're at 12 viewers, which is helping our watch time a ton. But also, the fact that we're at 12 viewers means that YouTube is advertising this thing harder for some reason. I don't know whether it's because we made a YouTube post. I don't know whether it's because we've advertised on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and our Discord. I don't know exactly what it is, but old subscribers are starting to jump back on and see this, whereas I think for a lot of our other streams, they just don't even get the notifications. So one, guys, make sure you have all your notifications turned on. Make sure you go and not only hit the bell, but turn on like all notifications, not just some, because it'll like tailor notifications to you. But if you really want to keep up with us, that's the best way to do it. And again, subscribing, liking the video, and just staying in and hanging out and talking to us, asking questions, being in the comments. It really helps us to push the needle to that 4,000 watch time hours a year, which we are hoping to break this summer. That's the intent. And it seems like with you guys hanging out, 12 viewers today, we are well on our way. Robert says, how are you? I'm doing good. If you haven't kept up with the channel in a while, Aeternia just had its first official territory purchase in the place of Vitae. That's the name that we are calling it. It is our first territory. It's something that we bought legally in the state of Alabama, and it's completely undeveloped land. We are going to develop it specifically for the purpose of us having a home for our family, as well as to be able to continue to grow and offer residency for people who want to be a part of the Empire of Aeternia and actually live there. So we have a lot that we're doing. We're working on an off-grid solar system, solar power generation and storage system, which we are actively making videos about. You should go check out some of our recent videos for that stuff. We've also been working on cleaning out and fixing up some 55 and 33 gallon barrels for us to have a nice rainwater collection system. So we have some fresh water for washing our hands, washing our bodies, cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing, and eventually drinking. although we'll need to make sure that it's really, really pure, good water before we actually go about trying to drink it. Um, Connor says, Eternia, it says on their micro wiki, but that's how we've been doing, Robert. How are you? Keep us updated with what the great Robert has been up to. Connor says, it says on their micro wiki they have dissolved and changed it to a political movement. Oh, very cool. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you updating us. I will check their micro wiki and I will get back to it, because that's cool. Like, even if they didn't hit us up, having something official that says, like, hey, we actively are proclaiming we changed our thing, that does help us. Sometimes I just am like lax on some of that stuff. I don't keep up with every single micronation that's on the map all the time. But when you tell us stuff like that, we will make the corrections. So thank you. Gore says you need way more followers to go live, unfortunately. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, Oh, wait. So I know we need way more followers to go live, but are we able to jump onto your live stream? Like, I know that there are other TikTokers that I've seen who will go live and then they will have other people join their live stream, and it'll be like a video thing. I'd be really excited to do that, and I'm curious to know how they are doing that. I want to learn more. I'm not super versed in TikTok, but I'm excited to see it. 13 viewers, 13 likes. Thank you guys for boosting the channel. If you guys haven't liked the video, definitely liking it means a lot and helps us out. So thank you guys. Again, we're trying to kind of show a day in the life and show what we're up to. Washingtonia says, good afternoon, people. Good afternoon, Washingtonia. How are you today? It's good to see you. What up, Bri? Oh, Bri, are you going to play music? Well, I was gonna say if you are, just let me know because I'll like move my stream because otherwise YouTube will be like copyright strike, your whole stream shut down. So just let me know and I'll let you know.
If I do, what? I don't know if I am this time.
Thank you guys for liking the video.
I'll play music to let you know how loud I normally play it when I'm working. Unless I'm like out here at night, I'll actually play it loud.
Oh yeah, that's good. Then that'll be fun. Yeah. Hey.
I don't have it like too low because it makes me nervous if someone's coming out.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be like overdoing their conversation or be too much. I also want to be able to hear my surroundings, so I try to keep it low if I can consider my surroundings.
Well, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
See you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. Gore says, okay, I'm going live. See you. Long live Aeternia. Hey, Aeternia forever, Gore. I'm excited to see your live stream content in the future, and I hope that we can get up there with you so that we can start doing some of our own. Retro said, just sent it. Hey, I'm excited to check out Retro stuff in the Discord. Again, that's our newest citizen, Vincent, plugging his cool old-time, Old West general store model that he's building. That's cool stuff. You know what I mean? It sounds like simple stuff, but it's legitimately a passion project that one of our citizens is working on, and it ultimately goes toward the culture of the interests of our people. 14 viewers right now, popping off on the stream, 15 likes. Thank you guys for liking the stream. Definitely make sure you're subscribed if you aren't. Like I said, like 50% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, so y'all subscribing helps to like shoot us off like a rocket. And also making sure those notifications are on, because I know plenty of you don't get like all of our notifications. Most of you guys will hit me up and be like, hey, something's wrong. I never get any of your notifications. So YouTube specifically tries to cut us out on a lot of people's stuff unless you really go out of your way to find us. So make sure to turn on all post notifications, like the stream, to help keep getting it out to our viewers. I love it when we have huge streams like this because it really does help us to come together as a community, and it helps to make this place something that allows for larger change. People connect in these comments. Micronations come together and create alliances that I've seen all the time. And also, if you aren't in our Discord, that's another place where people do stuff like that all the time. And you can see Robert's cool general store being built. Robert said, had the worst moment of my life. Oh my God, Robert, I hope you're okay. He said, I visited my friend's micronation and stained the floor with special sauce. Yeah, it wasn't a great moment. Oh, goodness. I am sorry to hear. That's crazy. Um, I hope everything's okay. Was it, um, huh. That's interesting. I hope everything's okay. Is your friend like mad at you? Is everything all right? You said you visited your friend's micronation. Was it like an official visit? Were you like running a micronation and you're like, hey, we're like coming for a state visit, and then like an embarrassing moment happened? Was it just like a thing where you were hanging out with a friend, they have a micronation, but you don't? You maybe you were going to become a citizen, and it was like a citizenship application, and then you do something embarrassing. That sucks, man. I'm so sorry to hear about that, Robert. I know I've had my fair share of embarrassments in job interviews, in friendships, in relationships. I would say don't sweat it too much. If that person's still your friend, if they're interested in seeing you again, not that big a deal. And I'm sure one day you guys will laugh about it. Like I'm laughing a little bit on the stream just because I know that feeling like all of a sudden something's like embarrassing and you're really worried about it. But it's cool to know that you are actively doing stuff and taking steps to visit other micronationalists, hanging out with people, spending time, and growing your friendships. It's an important part of like living your life and bonding with people. Fake name says, update on my Alaska plans. We plan to go into the frontier and establish a capital and working government. Fake name, how are you going to do that? Like hit us up with the specific project details. I know there are some micronations that just kind of fly by the seat of their pants, which honestly there's not a ton of problem with that until you get to like a certain size and scope. And then there are some micronations that have like 800-page tax documents before they even ever release taxes and stuff, before they ever trying to do anything big. So I feel like underdevelopment and underplanning is a problem, but overdevelopment can be a huge problem. So I'm really curious to see where you're at on these plans. How long do you think it'll take you to get to Alaska and to do all this? How much money do you think it'll cost you? Like, hit us up with these project plans. Francisco said, Robert, how in the hell did that happen? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh gosh, that's rough. Robert said, I got a bug in my face just now. That's an embarrassing that happens on the stream even. Um, Goodness. Robert, I hope you're good, and I hope your friendship is good. Robert says, thanks for the compliment, sir. Been watching since 2020. Absolutely. Glad to have you here. Robert says, long story. I imagine that is a long story. Ugh. But at the same time, I think one day you're going to look back on it and laugh. Maybe you'll be on one of those, like, R slash TIFU, like today I fucked up, whatever's. That'll be really cool to see. I would love to hear your story and just run into it one day online. Million Hawk says, hi AP, what do you think about chivalry and feudalism? So that's a great question. I feel like it really depends on the circumstances. I don't know a ton about how modern feudalism and chivalry would work. Chivalry, as far as the terms of like courting and like romance and chivalry, like what we think about like holding the door open for women and stuff like that, to some degree is nice. Like being respectful of people is nice, but I think a lot of the antiquated ideas are a problem, such as women not like showing their ankles and stuff like that, and there being a lot of prudishness surrounding that. If you're talking about chivalry as far as like knighthoods and stuff like that, that's interesting. Again, titles and development for micronations are certainly a touchy topic because you, of course, want to be able to give people as many benefits as you can as a micronation. But on the flip side, you really do not want to overdo it because at a certain point you can start to devalue all of those titles and all those ranks you're giving out. That's one of the huge things that we have made previous videos about. How, in fact, multiple videos in a series about how giving away titles can like destroy somebody's micronation simply because they devalue all of that stuff. And so if you have plenty of people who have, for example, knighthoods or lordships in a feudalistic stance where you're saying, okay, well, I have all my friends who are part of this micronation or all this online community who's a part of this micronation. Everybody now is a part of their own territory, and they're all the lords of their own territory, and I'm the feudal ruler of that, and then everybody just kind of reports to me. Well, you've granted a ton of people a ton of power, which means one, they can speak on your behalf. So some people are going to just do crazy stuff, and then you have to rein that in and say, no, 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 we don't endorse that, or no, 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 that person's not actually connected to us, which is a hard thing to backtrack. And two, especially when they have proof of, oh, well, I was given a lordship. Two, it can be incredibly difficult because when you give away those titles and you have those things set up, it's very, very difficult to it's very difficult to ensure that people are going to do work. So you have a lot of issues where people will take that and then not be doing a ton. So there are some people who are like, hey, I'm a lord and I found like 12 more citizens, and I've been like boosting the economy, and I've been setting up infrastructure here. And there's another lord who's like, yeah, I just have the Discord role, and I just chill with it, and it's whatever, and I'm part of 7 other micronations. And that may make that person who's really putting in all the time and effort feel hurt by how much they have been, how different the amount of effort is for the value of that title. So that can be an issue. That's something that, again, we talk about in a whole other video series. But continuing on with that, there's one other big problem that can be a difficulty, and that we saw somebody actually in the comments just now running into that same problem. We saw Francisco talking earlier about how Yara, their nation, is being split up and dissolved, not necessarily dissolved, but being like divided, and that they are on the smaller, weaker half of that division. The original founder is, simply because somebody decided to create a breakaway movement. If you, as a micronation, create a feudal system where you're giving power to all these lords, if you know much about, for example, feudal Japan, that is something that happened that was really terrible, where all of these shoguns, who were these individual lords of different protectorates. I forget the actual terminology that was used in Japan, but these different areas, these different territories in Japan that the shoguns held power in, they eventually started saying, well, we really don't need to listen to the emperor. I'm going to go and take over all of these other lordships around us, and we're going to, take control over that. And I'm going to become the new emperor. I'm going to become the new, head shogun. And that becomes a huge problem in micronations, because there's not a ton, unless you have very specific rules and regulations and benefits and legal stuff set up with contracts for people, to really rein in what power you give out and to really hold people accountable. If you can't hold people accountable, there is nothing that stops somebody from saying, hey, officially I'm a part of this micronation, and I think that it's dumb, so since I have all this power and ability as a lord in this micronation, I'm going to team up with 4 or 5 of the other lords, and we're just going to take over. We're going to say that now we're the legitimate government of this nation, and anybody who disagrees with us can kick rocks, and we are going to take most of the citizenship. We have this new movement where we're going to give everybody not only a lordship, but we're also going to give them $100 in our currency or whatever, and then bring a whole bunch of people to their movement by just popular vote, by just saying whatever it takes to get those people a part of their bandwagon. And then once they do, you're in trouble. Now you have to contest your claim to your own nation that you developed independently of them and that you brought them on to try and help you with. This is something that micronations fall into time and time again, and that I've seen happen to some of the best of them. Some of the coolest ideas I've seen have fallen apart or become defunct because either one, they were democracies that had, enough disagreements that eventually people started leaving, and then they just fell apart because they didn't have enough people to keep the democracy going. Or, on the other hand, they become feudal systems where they give out a whole bunch of titles and a whole bunch of abilities, and then they fracture, and then they become, all of these different groups vying for power. Even in democracies, that can happen, where there's a vote to split off, and people don't like it, and so people are trying to fight each other, and they become multiple different states with different government types and stuff. It can be really rough. And so that's why I say, if you do support some kind of a feudal system, if you are supporting some kind of, a way of giving out territory or power to people, really make sure that you are choosing a very small number of people, that those people have large consequences for breaking and causing issues within your nation, and make sure that you keep those people on a fairly tight leash. If they're going to have this much power and this much responsibility, really rein in what they can do, and make sure that you're checking up on them frequently. Don't wait until they are already fracturing your government and your nation before you start to impose issues on them. If they're just not doing their job, start to call them out and start to say, hey, you have this gained power and responsibility, so you also have, a higher share of the responsibility, a higher share of the consequences for when things go wrong. Hold people accountable. But that's a great question, Million Hawk. Thank you for asking that. And I appreciate us having 16 people in the chat right now. You guys are awesome. Retro says, OAP, I got a purple bandana to represent Aeternia when I go to Vitae and when I help with the watch time, which I should have up soon. My brother gave me his old mic so I can use it for Twitter. Yo, thank you, Retro. I appreciate that a lot. The live streams is going to be a huge thing. Again, yeah, Twitter's big. And Twitter's definitely like a thing that we want to have more people be a part of, is the Twitter Spaces. But just helping with the watch time, being able to stream when you can, means an absolute ton. So thank you so much for being a part of this and trying to help us make Eternia a bigger, larger community. Um, that being the case, we will more than likely be having Vincent, aka Retro Films and History, join in. He's already a new citizen of ours. He will probably be joining in making some more content for us. So that will help to take a little bit of weight off my shoulders, where I can start to focus on other things in Eternia, making the edited videos that we need to, working on stuff like that, and also allowing you guys to really have a space to talk as a community, to be able to make connections, and to get to know another face that is a part of Eternia. As we grow, I, of course, want to participate in everything that I can for this community, because we've been such a tight-knit group for so long. However, it may not be my face every step of the way. I'll pop in here and there, and I'll do different things. I'll, of course, be in the edited videos. But there may be some live streams where it's just new people who are coming in who want to share the face of Eternia and want to represent that. So I really hope that you guys can welcome that with open arms, and that we can find a way to comfortably transition into that as a community. It's a part of growth, and I'm really excited about it. And I feel lucky to have people who want to do that. It's going to be something that we have to test out and play with for a while, but I hope that it works. Also, 14 viewers, 16 likes. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Fake Name says feudalism was originally implemented to protect citizens from the Islamic Caliphate's invasions, and there's no reason to implement it today. I think you're correct, Fake Name. Again, if you were to do something very like a feudal system, you could do something where you purchase territories and then relinquish those territories to people under the sole understanding that you're still the full legal owner of that territory. But even that is a very difficult and concerning thing to do. And at that point, it's not really feudalism as hard. Gullian says, hello. Hey, Matt. It's good to see you. Matt, again, a huge supporter of our community. Longtime aristocrat board member. The absolute goat, Matt. It's good to see you, Matt. What are you up to? Drew and I were talking the other night, Matt's brother. Drew and I were talking the other night about Stemeria, about micronationalism in general, about a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I'm excited to see you. I know you were in the live stream last night for like a very small amount of time, and I'm excited to see what you were up to. I have been looking over your business application as well. One of the biggest questions that I have to try and figure out, specifically for your application, and I want to talk about this in the future, Matt is starting or has actively been running a business based around web hosting and web development. So that being the case, Matt, what would your development be in Eternia? Would you be looking to host the websites of other nations? It seems like that was part of your application, hosting our national website. Do you have prices for things like that? Could you talk to us a little bit about your ideas? And as well, what I know you said you have a little bit of investment in it. You've started to make a little bit of money in it. How do you set that up? Kind of what are your rates? What are the things that you feel like would be most beneficial for us as a micronation if we were to buy in directly to your services, or if another nation were looking to buy into that? How would we pitch that to them? What's the best way that we can help you to advertise your services and to get that out to people so that your business can grow? And what do you feel like is worth it for your business as far as becoming a part of Eternia's excuse me, licensed businesses to pay for that? If we were saying, okay, so now there's a $5 a month tax or whatever for having a business license. If your business was a part of that and was doing that, how would it? What things would it need to warrant that $5 a month? $5 a month setup. That's $25 a year. That's not too bad, but I'd be really curious to know what perks you would like for that. Of course, advertisement. Of course, trying to connect with other nations and partnering directly with your business. Fake Name says chivalry is supposedly dead. Washingtonia says not in Washingtonia. We tend to hold the door open for anyone. Yeah, but that's the thing that I was talking about earlier. People were saying like, oh, chivalry. What's your thoughts on chivalry? Well, depending on how you define it, chivalry could be anything from the colloquial holding the door open as chivalry, all the way to like women can't show their legs or whatever, which is weird. So I feel like that's really dependent on your definition. Um, Elijah says, have you thought about getting or making a water filter so you can drink the rainwater? Absolutely. So we already have plans and setups installed to start dealing with water filters. We're also going to probably be using bleach. There are water purification tablets, which are effectively bleach, that you can throw into the water in small amounts for large volumes of water to actually clean and purify it bacterially. So you're doing as much filtering as you can with things like Brita filters, with things like charcoal filters, to try to limit the amount of materials and ions that are in your water. But then when you're talking about, hey, oh, you leaving? See you, Brian. Then when you're talking about bacteria, you actually have to do something chemically to treat the water, and that's where little water purification tablets, bleach, stuff like that will help to clean it. The Kingdom of Adam says, "Hey, Kingdom of Adam, how are you? Good to see you as a part of the stream. Thank you for being here, and definitely please like that stream for us. It helps. Again, if you aren't subscribed, you should subscribe. I think I've seen you in these chats before, though, so I imagine you are. And if you hit those notifications for us, all notifications, because it helps a lot. I really want to know, because we have so many people here, how many people do get the regular updates for our live streams when we go live, the different, edited videos that we make. We're trying to figure this out because a lot of the time I get messages from people saying that they don't get all of our stuff. So the more that we understand that, the more we can kind of work with the algorithm to try and beat it and to try and get you guys more of our content. Um, Fake Name says, glad to hear. It's a good thing to keep alive. Gorthian Federation says, before I go, here's some tips to grow in TikTok. Always communicate with your followers, always upload, never give up. Hey, thank you, Gorth. I appreciate it. I think that's some good advice. I think that's the same thing for just about any social media platform, but I 100% respect it. I would say that's something that, again, we're having to try and figure out how to do more of, because consistency on TikTok I know can be a big thing to help grow. Same here on YouTube. And so right now, because we have limited ability to grow, we're trying to focus in on one or the other. Hopefully having Vincent do some more of our live streams and help us to grow in that way on YouTube here will allow us to pivot and make more edited content, so we can throw some of that toward TikTok, some of that toward, of course, supporting our YouTube here and trying to reach out to a larger audience. But thank you, Gorth. I appreciate it. And Aeternia forever. I'm excited to see Gorth's growth and success. Big Name says, I intend for bathhouses to be a part of Cusnarian culture. Very cool. I'm excited to see your bathhouses grow and develop. Are you interested in Greek-style bathhouses, Roman-style bathhouses, Japanese-style bathhouses? There are bathhouses all over the world, and I'm curious as to why you want to implement that as a part of your culture and what aesthetic you feel is important for that as a part of your culture. Is that, there are Turkish bathhouses. Is that something that's a part of your macronational culture as well that you're hoping to just kind of bring in? Or is this something that you've never experienced before that you're wanting to try? That's interesting. Ari says, Hey, Ari, it's good to see you as well. Ari, again, a longtime supporter of the channel, always jumping into our live streams. Ari, do you get all of our notification stuff? Because I feel like Ari, there are like 6 or 7 people that on most streams I see pretty regularly jumping in. We normally have an average audience of 4 or 5 people for any given moment on a stream. So having a few people who are really consistent jumping in means a ton to us. But then there are a ton of people who I just see sporadically every once in a while, and I'm like, guys, I miss you guys. Come on, come hang out. I can't wait to see what all of you have been up to. Matt says, repair monkey thing. It's like a monkey with a hammer. I'm curious to see what you're memeing about over there, Matt. Robert says, I guess it's working. We're working on stuff. We're working on that culture for Aeternia and that business license for your business. Robert says, I don't run a micronation, just like visiting them. Very cool, though. That's exciting. Is the micronation, I imagine the micronation you visited is probably local to you. Are you comfortable sharing your location? Not specific, down to the details, but what country you're in, what state you may be in, stuff like that. Because I'd be curious to know how many micronations there are around you. Is it something that's popular? Kingdom of Adam says, I don't know how to Discord. I'm 367 trillion years old. And then they put a diamond. I respect the diamond. Diamonds are hella old. Diamonds are things that form under immense pressure down in the Earth's mantle. So very, very cool to see them making a geological reference, if that's what you were trying to do. If not, maybe you just shine bright like a diamond, in which case we believe in you, fam. Glow up. You got this. Using all these youth terms. I do appreciate it though. It's not too difficult, really. Essentially, we send you a link. You join the server, and then you can just message people. It's an online message board, effectively, for gaming communities, but we've adopted it for the micronational community. And there are a lot of people talking about a lot of stuff there. So if you want to, I don't think I'm going to do it this stream, but I can go. If you go to our last stream, I posted in the live chat. If you go to probably like 3/4 of the way through the stream, and you just scroll up a little bit, I posted the link to our Discord, an unlimited link, as many uses as you want, to join our Discord server. So if you want to go back and do that, all you have to do is go click that link that's in those in that live chat board as the stream was going on. Click that. It'll take you to our Discord server, and then you can join from there and talk to people. Let's see. Fake name says plans. Step 1, get 500 or 1,000 citizens. Step 2, get necessary funds to buy sufficient land. Step move. Step 4, begin establishment. I reckon it will be 10 to 15 years. I believe in you, Pisnaria. I will say, I think 10 to 15 years is a pretty smart estimate, but you never know how soon that'll actually happen. For us, we still had this land purchase estimated at probably about 5 or 6 years out for us, just because land prices keep going up. It keeps being really expensive, and it keeps being really, really tough to continue to do that. So the more that we have that kind of support and established connection there, the more that we can really, really build up our opportunity to do stuff like that, the better the better chance you have to getting what you want there. But again, I think that's a solid timeline. It's really, really hard to try and figure that out. And all of a sudden, we just stumbled onto something that we had to go for. It was the right timing. We were desperate enough that we had to purchase a piece of land. And it was kind of a now or never moment. So we sunk, all of our funding pretty much into that. All of, my personal funding, my personal finances into that. In order to purchase this piece of property. And it just so happened to work out. We got it, and we have been developing ever since. But it's a long shot. It's something that you really want to be in the right place financially to do. But we were just in a position where we didn't want to pass up the opportunity and have somebody else buy the land. So I'm glad we did it. I would say save your money, work on that, figure out what's the best bang for your buck, and try your best to continue growing. I think you're going to get it. Even if it's 10 to 15 years, that's still a good timeline for your development, especially if you're a younger person. You got plenty of time in your life to keep developing that. Torrance said, fake name is on the right page. Hey, I'm glad to see you, Torrance. Thank you for hanging out with us. Torrance, I know you're here in Alabama. Thank you for hanging out with us, and I hope to continue to see your development as well. Matt says, Alaska, cold, food shortages. Very hard to live unless you can somehow pioneer Alaska. Agreed, but with modern conveniences like electricity and running water power and stuff like that, which all ultimately comes back to electricity, you can do a good bit. If you can buy enough land out there in Alaska and connect to a lot of solar power, you can have a pretty substantial thing running that can last you for a good amount of time. Food shortages is very difficult. You'll just have to have a lot of food storage space. So benefit about Alaska is, of course, there is the price point for land is significantly cheaper than many other places because it's such a hostile environment. However, if you do end up buying land in Alaska, you should have the opportunity to connect to a decent amount of land for food storage. Torrance says, I have a plan, AP. How do I get started presenting my ideas to others to fill a few key roles? Again, if you're in our Discord, you can always do that. I think there are a lot of people who really talk about good ideas there. As well, if you want to pitch it to me, hit me up in my DMs on Discord or at aeternianempire@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you about it. Once again, you are local to us, and I would be excited to learn more about what you're up to. The Kingdom of Adam says, I've always followed the chivalric code. Very cool. I'm curious as to what that entails, though. Torrent says, join the Crowned Republic. Hey, very cool. Hype in their nation. Torrent says, AP, let's grab coffee someday. Agreed. Hit me up. If you hit me up on Discord, I will like give you my contact information. We can most definitely do that. Robert says, I just remembered the Minerva Republic with the frontier of Alaska when a group of radical libertarians attempted to coup some South Pacific island. That's crazy. I remember some of that. It was like a was the Minerva Republic like a wealthy dude that tried to buy an island, or was that something else? I remember there was like a wealthy dude who tried to buy an island from a country, ended up buying the island, and then very quickly got like retaken over because they thought they could just do whatever they want, and the country went, no, actually you can't. Drew jumped in. Hey, Drew. Good to see you, Connor. So I don't think I want to know what special sauce is. I don't think you want to either. I have a feeling about what it is, and I'm quite concerned. Uh, the Kingdom of Adam says, I think I have 1 or 36 trillion citizens. It's either or. Kingdom of Adam, I completely get it. They're focused on the chivalry in the Kingdom of Adam and their fluctuating quantum number between 1 and 36 trillion. You never know if you're going to run into a citizen in the Kingdom of Adam. You may go all the way up into the king's quarters and realize that it's just him sitting there on his throne posing. Or you may go in there and all of a sudden get jammed packed between 32 million people, 32 trillion people, so tight you can't breathe. It's curious to have that off a number count. Matt says message retracted. Nah, Matt, what you were going to say? I miss you, Matt. Fake Name says, actually, the Shogun was the bug leader. The local leader was the daimyo. Agreed, you're right. The big leader. Local leaders were the daimyo. Yeah, but daimyos and shoguns, like, fought, didn't they? And the emperor had been a puppet for many centuries. I probably spelled daimyo wrong. That's fair. I imagine I would spell daimyo wrong as well. Fake Name says, big, not bug. We got you, Casnaria. Francisco says, fun fact, people of Rhodesia and Yara want a republic. Very cool, but it seems like they want different things, right? Like you said that they like split up really hard. I'm still curious as to how you're gonna solve that. That seems like a really rough issue to try and beat. Connor says Minisland, maybe the only nation to have claimed a volcano as part of their territory. You may have claimed it, but can you actually go and live in there? Like, I think that's one of the hardest things about territory claims. A lot of nations claim a lot of territories. You know, the Arakan Empire, for example, a more well-known nation. Maybe one of the only nations to have claimed, like Jupiter's moons and stuff like that, Saturn's rings and stuff like that. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean they can do things practically with that land. That's not always the purpose of a nation's claims, and you can do whatever you want as a micronation. But as you focus in on your personal growth and how you hope to achieve larger goals, you may start to realize that a volcano may or may not be the most beneficial thing for you. If you could somehow purchase that volcano, claim legitimate access to it, to have building rights there, that may be something. You could have a cool supervillain layer in the volcano. I don't think a lot of people would mess with you in an active volcano, but it would be quite crazy. I've always thought it'd be cool to own like an entire mountain. That would be insane to have like an entire mountain that all the different resources you could have, all of the different energy storage systems that you could be building and creating there. An entire mountain would be absolutely insane to have, and the views would be beautiful, of course. But again, very, very expensive and potentially a long way away. Kingdom of Adam says, nope, I'm a sovereign nation of synergetic organisms. Hey, very cool. I remember this. Yes, I have seen your stuff. You talking about that. It's just effectively the collective, beings that inhabit your body. Correct, Adam? That's really cool. Robert says, you know how to handle lords. Abolish feudalism. Agreed, Robert. Agreed. Fake Name says at the time, that's basically what the roundabout way of saying everything I said led to was, yeah, just abolish it. Like, you probably don't need it in this day and age. Fake Name says, at the time I'm commenting this, you have 16 viewers, AP. Agreed. We're trying to blow it up. Thank you, everybody, for, hitting that like button. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing. Thank you, everybody, for watching the stream. We're not nearly done yet. We're still going to be going for a little bit of time. But it's incredible to see everybody's support of us. Real quick, I'm going to just bring up a cool little thing we have here. Kingdom of Adam says, oh, actually, 37.2 trillion citizens. They are cells. Got you. I'm learning. I'm learning. One citizen being the entire Kingdom of Adam, 32 trillion citizens being cells. That's really cool. Fake Name says people need representation in the government, but a supreme sovereign should be the final authority. Incursion can help keep the lords in line if they get all rebellious. So you're gonna fight your own people in the incursion? Casnaria, what's up, dude? I didn't know there were like internal incursions that could develop. I thought it was like games between micronations, like micronational war games. I didn't know this was gonna be an all out like this is the way I punish my citizens with the incursion thing. I would not recommend that. Also, look at this cool globe. This is a little bit off topic, but we have this cool globe. I thought I would bring it out. I saw it sitting over there in the corner, and just kind of plug this globe right here. So, ooh. Also, it's weird because I don't know what's up with the setup on this thing, but it's not stable. So when you roll it, it just kind of spins. But it's pretty cool. I'm vibing. I'm vibing. We can plan everybody's micronational development on this Earth. If I had cool like visual effects, we would have like different nations like things starting to ping and show up. I'll show you where our nation is. The Empire of Aeternia. Let me scale back a little. Are you guys seeing Africa right now? No, that's South America, North America, U.S. There we go. Okay, U.S. Here we are. There, Alabama. Do. That's where we are. Flip to the other side of the earth. You have upside down South America, North America. I'll show you again. We're right in there. Real quick, let me jump into more questions. Also seen as the universe maybe 367 trillion years old. That may be my age. Oh, makes sense from like stardust and stuff. I get you, Adam. It's a very creative way to develop your nation. I like the culture for sure. Robert says, what feudalism was around before the Caliphate? Feudalism was a thing in Rome in the late Empire when Rome lost control over Hispanic and Gaul. I imagine like Hispanic nations or Hispaniola and Gaul. Interesting. Big Name says the Roman feudalism was more of a proto-feudalism and it was in response to the crisis of the 3rd century. Y'all in Cosnaria are teaching me so much about history, especially Roman history. Cosnaria apparently big into Roman history. Big Name says I forgot to close quotations. Respect. Adam says no, there's an actual code of conduct. You can look it up. Oh, interesting. Uh, Adam says distill then remineralize. Oh, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Adam. So in that, Adam's talking about actually purifying our water, where he's talking about distilling it by boiling it and allowing it to become a vapor, and then having it condensate back down into a liquid where it's distilled. It's no longer has any ions, and then adding your own ions back into it. I agree. That's pretty smart. Big Name says instead of chivalry, I think I'll write my own code of honor. Kingdom of Adams is all about restructured water. Makes sense. Retro says, bro, my first micronation was named Monopolis and used Monopoly money. It was very cringy, but I was 15 or 16 then. Hey, Vincent, I appreciate that though. Like, first off, everybody starts somewhere. Don't knack your thing. Secondly, I think it's really cool that people do that at such a young age. Again, I was 17, 18 when I started the Empire. Let me see. In 2022. So I was 17 when I started the, well, no, 23. Okay, I was pretty much 18 when I started the Empire of Aeternia. We've been developing for 5 years, almost 6 now. But at the same time, it's something that, I was into when I was younger, but I never developed because I was like, I don't know how to do this. How do I lead a nation? But I feel like the earlier you start, the more you can do and the more you learn. So I respect that. Those early attempts still teach you an absolute bucket load of information that you need to be able to continue on with whatever you're going to do. They teach you things about, if you entered macronational politics, it'll teach you a lot. It'll teach you, we talked about that the other night on our Twitter Spaces thing. It'll teach you a ton if you're talking about trying to develop another micronation or assist in another nation's development, as you're doing, Vincent. You can really create a whole career around what you learn working with and developing micronations. So I'm proud of you, Vincent. I don't think that's anything to cringe over. It's something to look back on and learn from, but it's never a negative. The Kingdom of Adam says you can use watermelon tourmaline for its ionic purposes. Oh, that's very cool. So we could like grow watermelons, have delicious watermelon, which I love to eat, and then at the end of the day, you could like use you could extract tourmaline from it and use it for ions in your water. That's really cool. Francisco says, "What are your thoughts on anti-Semitism?" We're very against anti-Semitism. I think once again, just on plain blanket statements, being against Judaism as a religion, being against the Jewish people as a diaspora, are all negative things. However, I don't believe that being anti-Israel is anti-Semitic. I am not super fond of what Israel is doing to the people of Palestine, and so I openly like reject that, and I don't think that's anti-Semitic at all. So, because it's not any individual Jewish person of the Jewish faith or even the Jewish diaspora as a collection or nation of people that I'm against in that. I'm against the like specific rule of an oppressive government there. So it depends on what you mean by anti-Semitism and how you define anti-Semitism. I know a lot of people define it based on support or being against the state of Israel, but that's not how I view it. So I am against anti-Semitism. I am pro-Judaism. I am pro the Jewish people, but I am against a lot of the things that the state of Israel does. It's that's the same thing as well with any other culture or people. I'm supportive of the people who live in a nation. I am supportive of the people who help to develop countries and to help to further cultures that have been around for especially thousands and thousands of years, like the Jewish faith has and the Jewish people have. But I am certainly against the acts that modern states do in a lot of ways. That even leads to U.S. ties to Israel and stuff like that. Fake Name says Roman style, but it will probably develop into its own thing, and it's something I want to try. I sort of honor the last and look to the future. Oh, very cool. So that's what you're wanting to do with your bathhouses. So you're like, you want to develop Roman style architecture for your bathhouses, and then you want to create that as a modern way of developing culture. I definitely respect that. That's pretty cool. Fake Name says honor the past. Robert says I'm in America. There's quite a few where I'm at. Lots of people are starting them. Agreed. We're in America as well. We're specifically in Alabama, and so we are doing a lot. Torrance says, AP, how old is your oldest citizen? That's a great question. So, from my understanding, unless I'm wrong and somebody needs to correct me, our oldest citizen is currently Richard Taylor, who is in his 50s. So, that's how old our oldest citizen is. Below that, let me see. It may be myself. We have Richard Taylor. We have myself and David. I think I'm maybe just a tad bit older than David, but David and I are both in our 20s. I'm 23, about to be 24. David is in his, early to middle 20s as well. Then we have Drew. We have we have Steven, who's also in his 20s. We have a lot of people who are in their 20s. I think if you were to look at the population distribution of Eternians by age, you would have Richard on this side, you would have probably Drew on this side, and then you would have more than likely, most people concentrated around 1920s area. Vincent, who just joined, is 19. So, we have a lot of people in the 1920s region. More people. It used to be that a lot of our citizens were under the age of 18. Now it's actually shifted because of the restrictions we have on citizenship and because of the, some of the higher costs that we have developed for the purpose of trying to retain and grow people who are going to develop into residents in Aeternia. Most of our citizens now are above the age of 18. So most people in their 20s, some people even older than that. That's a great question, Torrance. Adam says it was a geological reference. Robert says some are ironic, lingered by lingered by Zhreg, and some actually watch you. So there's a big micronational culture. Very cool. I will say I have watched some Zhreg stuff. I have tried to hit him up before, and he's a bigger YouTuber than me certainly, so I understand why he didn't hit us back. But I would still love to talk to him and love to discuss more of what micronationalism is. I'm not sure if he's ever done something specifically on micronations. I know he does a lot about like meme politics and about like the political spectrum in general. He'll talk about a lot of like fringe um, fringe political ideologies, stuff like anarcho-communism or, he'll talk a lot about like centrism and stuff like that. I think it's really interesting to see the development of Drake's channel and see how wild it gets in some of his videos. But that all being the case, I would really love to be able to talk with someone more directly, like him, who's a large influence on the political community in general, especially a younger audience like is on YouTube, about what the micronational community is. I've tried to hit him up. If you guys ever want to hit him up to be like, you should interview micronations, I think it'd be really cool. Um, Adam says it was a geological reference. Very cool, Adam. Robert says summer ironic when goodbye Drake. Yep. Torrance says Kingmanian Bank Coin is going to the moon. Hey, very cool. I'm glad to see you guys are doing like crypto stuff. I wish you good luck. But that is certainly a little bit, if I understand you correctly in trying to do crypto stuff can be a little bit, iffy. It can be a little bit difficult. Regardless, if you are trying to run a crypto or any other currency, make sure you get that money transmitter's license. That's something we're actively working to because it's quite an expensive endeavor to be able to purchase a money transmitter's license. But it is necessary to actively, legally run your thing in the United States and especially in Alabama, knowing you're in Alabama. So let me see. Let me hit a whole bunch of stuff. There are a whole bunch of people commenting, so let me make sure that I get it. I'm sorry, I'm like all the way in the back here. Manu says AP's chat reading is so delayed. Agreed. I'm getting to it, Manu. I'm getting to it. Oh goodness. Oh gosh. Okay. So Matt says attorney in Discord unlimited use. Yep. Torrance Kingman says we don't have 10 to 15 years. We have to be thinking 3 to 5 years. Agreed. For like ecological reasons and stuff. Yeah. Environmental changes are occurring quickly, as well as economic ones. Baliga says we will get an allotment in 2 years, which is cheap land the government rents out to its citizens to grow food for around 30 pounds in the UK. Hey, that's awesome. Congrats. Adam says, yep, I agree, 3 to 5 years. Ryan says, invest in money. We love you, Ryan. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'm glad you're back in our Discord, and I am curious to see your investment in money. Kingman's Torrance says, libertarian socialism will save the world. I'm curious to see how that will work out. That sounds almost contradictory a little bit, but maybe I just don't understand enough about it. I'm excited for you to teach me more. Torrance says humanism will save the world. I'm excited to see that. Torrance said invest in your future, own your future, join the Crown Republic. You're starting to advertise a little bit hard there, Torrance. I would ask you to stop advertising. Again, I appreciate you plugging your own stuff. Once doing it, I understand. When you keep plugging it real hard like that, back to back, I feel like it's just a little much. Connor says, I'm visiting the local volcano this summer. Hey, awesome. It's located in Arizona. It's not currently erupting. I want to buy it someday. I believe in you. Hey, that's very cool. I'm excited to see. Connor says, I'm a part of the Eric and Mars colony. Very nice. Robert says, I'm quite concerned about a war in a micronation in my local micronational belt, saying there was 20 factions. That seems kind of extreme, and I'm curious as to how serious they are. It doesn't seem like they could be very serious if they're having 20 factions warring against each other. I doubt there will be anything serious that comes from it. Again, in our opinion, micronational war is stupid. So good luck. Not saying that your thing is stupid, but just saying that I think a lot of micronations that go to war are not taken very seriously by the community. Matt says, Aeternia is an investment. Cannot change my mind, Torrance. Hey, I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you very much. We try to make Aeternia an investment, and we try our best to help to provide that to the community. So the more that you can teach us about how to better serve that, the more we want to hit it. Michael Ryan says, hi. Robert says, and the alliance of Nazbols appears to be marching on the Capitol, and another guy my friend put on Discord. Oh, gross. That's really gross. I'm sorry, like Nazis or messing with y'all. That's horrible. Nazis are bad. Fun fact, interesting informational segment here. Nazis are bad. Torrance says, Matt, that's good. Citizens should own their country, saying that Aeternia is investment. I appreciate it. Manu saying, my chat's so delayed. I got you, Manu. I'm coming back. I'm trying to speed it up. Adam says, never attack an unarmed foe, never attack an unhorsed foe, never attack a foe from behind, avoid cheating, avoid torture. Uh, the unhorsed thing sounds interesting in the modern day, but I definitely respect it. Torrance says Nazbol is fun to say. Yeah, I get that, but it's a bad ideology. Manu says, playing with that globe reminds me of Eternia's old channel intro. Oh, you know it. Who, dang it, I'm about to mess it up. I'm about to mess up my old introductory channel from our first video. Um, who something and started their own country, and then I throw on the sunglasses. I love it. Who doesn't know what they're doing and started their own country and then spin and then throw the glass? I don't think that's it. It's something similar to that. Oh goodness, sorry about the screech. Um, Robert says, yeah, well, the Nazbol Alliance is coming to the capital. That's gross. I'm sorry to hear about that. So run, or just, tell them to leave. Torrance says, whose capital? I'm not afraid of them. And then Robert says, Dufania. Yeah, again, just leave. And then y'all are memeing about Doofenshmirtz. Ooh, y'all are talking about Israel and getting specific in it. I don't. I need to educate myself more on that before I comment on it. Retro says, personally, I have hatred for racism of any kind. Agreed. Vincent, that's a great reason why you're a part of Eternia. We need people who are like that, people who are against racism, who are against hate and bigotry, who are going to promote the right ideals in our nation and keep them ongoing. Robert says, Israel constantly is occupying land that isn't theirs. Agreed. Michael Ryan says, your take on anti-Semitism is dead on. Thank you, sir. Michael, we are trying our best to, not only be micronationally active and politically aware in that sense, but also politically aware in the world culture that is developing every single day and speaking out against the atrocities that we see. We've had to do that on several occasions, dealing with the war in Afghanistan and the withdrawal there, dealing with, Donald Trump becoming the president, dealing with a lot of things, and horror shows that have occurred. The war in Ukraine, we've covered a lot of different macronational topics, and we'll continue to speak our minds on that. Robert says, until they withdraw from the Jordan, Palestine, and Golan, I won't support them. Makes sense. Torrance says, I'm 25. I need friends. I got you, Torrance. The Empire of Eternia is 100% down to connect with you. Please hit us up. Please hit us up. EternianEmpire@gmail.com, or hit us up on Discord. You can privately DM me, and I will be excited to meet and discuss with you. Michael says, White Shark is 19, I believe. Hey, very cool. Yes, he is. Yep, and he's Vincent. He's our newest citizen. Robert says the state. Kingdom of Adam says exhibit self-discipline, show respect, administer justice, uphold common law, protect the innocent, respect women. I can definitely be down with all those. The first half with don't hurt an unhorsed foe. I don't know about that because a lot of people don't have horses in the modern day. You'd be scarce to find any foe who has a horse actively while you're fighting them. Even in wars and stuff, most people do not have horses. But that last part, self-discipline, showing respect, administer justice, uphold common law, protect the innocent, respect women, I can definitely get on with that. Robert says, I'll always support the Jewish people. I respect that, Robert. At Torrance says, and history not to legitimize racism. You for real shouldn't legitimize racism. Absolutely. Ryan says, Israel is a colonialist project. Agreed. Elijah says, I'm currently working on a method that using carbon filtration followed by distillation, which should filter out 99.99% of impurities. It requires no electricity and produces drinkable water in only 10 minutes. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I had a chemistry professor while I was going through my undergraduate who was working on, goodness, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not molasses. It's, not symbiosis. Oh goodness, I'm gonna forget the term. But effectively desalinating water using a membrane. There's a specific term for that. But he was researching that chemically as ways to purify water and to clean water as well that's already fresh, but just has some sort of impurity in it. And that was really really cool to learn about. Water filtration is always an exciting thing to develop. Torrance says racism is propaganda based on an outdated pseudoscience. Agreed. Torrance says I want a nuke. I don't know that you should have a nuke, Torrance. I don't think anybody needs a nuke. The United States and every other country in the world has been trying to lower the amount of nukes that exist on this planet. Matt says, an interesting question for Aeternia. What is the real estate going to be like out there? That's a great question, Matt. So, you will not be able to private purchase the land because in the United States, if you privately purchase the land, you would have certain rights to it that we don't want. We want to own all of our land all the time. We would potentially give you space. So we would sign a contract with you that is very similar to like renting the space, where you could say, hey, you're given this building for a certain amount of access for a certain amount of time. Again, real estate as far as private living, as a resident of Aeternia, so long as you meet our criteria, you will have your housing there for free. It'll be in an Aeternian dwelling. It won't be anything super fancy, but you will have your living completely covered as far as the building itself. Now, if you want to bring a business onto the land and you needed extra space for doing stuff like that, we would not, again, sell you any of the land, but we could potentially lease you some of it or rent you some of it upon a very specifically agreed upon contract that would list out the terms that we have for that. Again, we'd never sell any of our land, but we would definitely allow businesses to utilize it, especially when we're hosting large events, which I want it to very soon. But that's a great question, Matt. I hope that answers your question. If not, please clarify, and I will try my best to correct my answer. Torrance says not crypto, and we're going for a full banking license. Good luck. Banking licenses are incredibly difficult and expensive to get. If you're talking about, I think like $1,000-something for a money transmitter's license that allows you to run your own cryptocurrency or your own local currency, whatever you want. A money transmitter's license is something completely, a banking license is something completely different that allows you a lot of benefits, but that can be hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to get all of the licensing done, to go through the proper attorneys, to go through the proper federal, state regulations, to do, that's an incredibly costly project. So good luck. I'm excited for you, though. I believe in you. Elijah says, sometimes slower, 15-30 minutes, but I'm working on making it faster while it's still being effective. It also has little to no cost to make. That's incredible, especially using things like, like drip methods and stuff like that, where you are actually using, you say it requires no energy, it requires no electrical energy, but, using different, some kind of method for, gravity pulling it down and stuff like that and creating the force for squeezing that water through the carbon is definitely something that is a great way to do that, or even solar to, boil the water. There's a lot that you could do there. Torrance says war is money laundering and money laundering is bad. Money laundering is bad. You're putting that winky face. But yeah, for sure. Money laundering and a war is bad. Robert says other micronations might attack this country to stop the Dufanian War. I think it's micronational war is silly. You should ignore those people. It'll be literally more worth your time to just not care about what they're doing whatsoever. Kingdom of Adam says, exhibit courage in word and deed. Support the wronged in their endeavor to right what was wronged. Defend the weak and innocent. Fight with honor. Never abandon a friend, ally, or noble cause. I can definitely respect those things. Good on you, Adam. Democratic Republic of Beliga says, why do we have Nazbols in the micronational community again? We must stop it becoming normal. Last time we had a Nazi nation, which I will not name it as to give them attention, it was a struggle. Agreed, and I think that's super concerning. Like, there, of course, are going to be people who crop up from all over the political spectrum who are going to start micronations, and we really can't control that, but we can definitely say, I, as an individual and as a micronationalist, am not going to support your project. If I, have disagreements with specifically, a racist or hateful ideology that you're espousing, then I won't support that. But I don't think that, on the other hand, people try and do that with other stuff, like just, communism is an ideology, like just communism by themselves. They'll be like, no, we don't like communists, we're going to kick you out. which I think is a little bit extreme. But on a side where it's literal Nazis, where it's people who are, trying to espouse race-based hate, you should absolutely not support them. And I think they will just get bored and leave the community when they realize they're not getting the attention they want. Fake Name says, fight the Nazbols as they consist of two hate groups, Nazis' hate of races and communism's hate of the wealthy. I disagree with that, though. Nazbols are bad because of the Nazi thing. I don't think communism is something that you should hate specifically because it's communist. Allow people to develop nations that they want to develop, so long as they aren't espousing race-based or gender-based or sexual identity-based hate. As long as they are not marginalizing a group of people, that's completely fine. The wealthy are not a protected class of people. The wealthy are from all backgrounds, all races, religions, genders, orientations, and are a group that do need to be concentrated on a little bit harder. A lot of the problems that you see economically with a lot of the world have to do with concentration of wealth. So I don't think that you should belittle communist nations in any way, shape, or form. Hate those people because they're Nazis, not because they're communists. Torrance says Nazis and communists are irrational. Disagree, Torrance. Nazis 100% are irrational. Communists is an entirely different thing, and I really do not think you should hate on communists just for being communists. You can hate on Nazbols for being Nazis, but don't hate on them for being communists. Francisco, because there are plenty of legitimately good aspiring groups that have no hate toward anyone who are trying to develop as communist nations, that people run out of this community and belittle and be mean to just because they set up their government a specific way. They won't have even done anything to anybody, and it'll just be an immediate like, nah, we hate you, get out of here. And that's wrong. That's wrong to do to people. But again, Nazis, I have no protection or support over Nazis. I will try and kick Nazis out of the community as much as possible because they are specifically hate-based. Francisco says Golan Heights or Israeli-Palestine is getting a taste of its own medicine. I don't know about that, Francisco. Golan Heights is, it's still a Palestinian, lived area that people are, getting kicked out of. Simply because the Israeli government will allow it to happen. People's families have lived there for years and years, and you can't just go and take over somebody's house. Robert says, what? Vincent says, I gotta go do something. I'll join later if you're still streaming. Hey, it was good to see you, Retro. Thank you for hanging out with us. And Aeternia forever, Vincent. I'm excited for your first stream. Robert says, Golan isn't Israeli, it's Syrian. Agreed. Adam says, always keep one's word, always maintain one's principles, never betray a confidence or comrade, always avoid deception, respect life. Agreed. Beliga says, I do not think communism is a hate group. I personally no longer believe it would work, but it's not really hateful as they do not want to kill the rich. They just want the world to be fair. Agreed. 100% agreed. Also, Beliga used to be communist. And I am really sorry that Beliga got scared away from their ideology. I think a lot of that, and I could be wrong, Beliga. I know you have your own reason for changing your government and doing stuff like that. But you got a lot of hate and a lot of flack for being communist. And I think that's wrong. I think that's really wrong. And I don't think you should change the way that you want to develop your nation and the ideals and beliefs you have just because other people are shitting on it and hating on it. You could say the same thing about micronationalism. There are plenty of people in the world who would be like, I don't think micronationalism will ever work because no. Do you develop yourself, prove them wrong if you think you can. Don't hear people and then just go, it'll never work because there's a handful of people who said it won't. Do your thing and support yourself. Robert says, and is Israel occupied Palestine after its war of independence and justice? Interesting. Okay, Democratic Republic of Beliga says Nazis are just hateful. Agreed. Francisco says last year Palestinian Authority gave $500 million to terrorist organizations. Again, the governments, if you're talking about governments, sure. Also, are those terrorist organizations defined by, the UN, or are they defined by Israel specifically? Michael Ryan says osmosis. Osmosis, yes, he was working on osmosis technology. Thank you very much. Osmosis Jones, if you guys remember that movie. um, that's what I think of when I think of osmosis. Baliga says if communism worked, it would be once again. It would become one again. I would become one again, but I doubt it does anymore. Sorry for monologue. No, don't apologize for that at all. Again, you can have your own beliefs. You develop as you want to politically. That's your right and your ability. But I really think you're shortchanging yourself. You 100% can be a communist micronation, and there's no problem with that at all. We have worked with communist micronations in the past and will continue to, as long as you are a viable candidate for us to work with, and as long as you're not espousing hate or doing anything incredibly radical, we're perfectly fine with working with you, communist micronation or not. So, um, I would say that the ability for something to succeed is based on how much support it can get and how much value it can provide. And I don't think communism deters any value creation. Torrance says Nazis are scared once you realize this. It's funny. Agreed. I think people who are a part of hate-based groups are generally people who are scared. They're scared of differences. They're scared of the success of people who are different than them, and they feel like if they have to compare everything on race-based lines, that any success that someone has that is outside of their race is an attack on who they are as a person, and if it's something that's an example of somebody in their race having some sort of value, even if it's from like ill-gotten gains and like evil motives, they're like, oh well, that's just the natural selection of whatever. It's incredibly racist. It's incredibly horrible. And yeah, a lot of it is based out of fear and misunderstanding of the way that the world works for Nazis. Robert says their goals are noble, but their atrocities aren't. Are you talking about Palestine? Are you talking about communism? I'm curious as to what you're talking about. Palestine, I think. Uh, Baliga says Nazis are terrifying. Nazis are definitely concerning. They're horrible racist groups who attack people. Robert says, but Israel commits apricots too. I think they've been atrocities, but I get you. They may commit apricots as well. 12 views, 19 likes. Thank you guys for hanging out and viewing the stream with us, and thank you guys for liking it. It means a lot. Robert says, but Israel commits apricots too. Torrance says, libertarian socialism is diet Nazbol. No, I completely agree. Completely agree. Completely disagree. Oh my goodness, completely do not agree. Uh, why would you ever compare the thing that you support, Torrance, to anything Nazi? You shouldn't connect to Nazis at all. Like, don't support Nazis, Torrance, and don't compare yourself to Nazis ever. That's not a good idea. Completely disagree. Torrance Kingman says no, Nazis are terrified. Torrance says millions of dollars cheaper offshore. It's worth it. Citizens will own their future. Good for you, Torrance. I believe in you. Francisco says, ironically, I support Israel, but I also support Assad in Syria because rested militias are either too radical or too liberal. That's interesting. I'm curious to see how that ideology works out for you. Adam says, exhibit manners, be polite and attentive, be respectful to all, be loyal to source sovereignty and the code of chivalry. Very cool. Francisco says, FSA idolizes Saddam Hussein, Kurds are not so good, ISIS, we all know why. I'm curious as to how this ideology is going to develop for you, Francisco. It seems a little bit contradictory, but most definitely it seems like it, supports a lot of like very interesting characters. Baliga says, also got to go see you all in the next stream. See you, Baliga. Thank you so much for being here. Love you. I appreciate you for supporting our streams, and Aeternia forever. Torrance says AP is secretly a communist. I'm not actually, which is something that's interesting. People have like said, why do you support communism? Why do you do all this? One, because I feel like it's a group of people who get bullied a lot, and I don't fuck with bullies at all. I hate bullies. The other thing is that I have socialist ideals to some extent. We're a monarchy, we're an empire, so in a lot of ways we are imperialists to some extent. We are monarchists to some extent. We have some democratic values and we have some socialist values, economically speaking. But that's our way of moving forward. Communism is a very, very specific ideology that personally I don't know enough about to speak on in its pure ideological state or whatever, but I think that's the way that a lot of people like to talk about communism. So I try not to touch communism, in speaking for what it is or isn't. The only thing that I know is that a particular person's ideology in supporting communism, especially as a micronation, is not the same as Nazism to any extent. It's not the same as being a hate group, which a lot of people misunderstand it to be. And it's not that it's doomed to fail, like a lot of people think, unless you are 100% certainly, trying to connect it to pure perfect theory, which when you're trying to do that, any system just about that you're trying to set up and create the logic of ultimately has issues and troubles. So I feel like people really, really pick on communists. Ryan says, I see we have some colonization apologia in the chat. Agreed. It's interesting. It's a little messed up. Elijah says, message retracted. Torrance says, communism, do not respect rights or speech. Um, um, hold up. Oh, goodness. Rights to speech, thought, religion, property, and privacy. That's not inherent to the belief system, though. That's not in the definition of communism. That's an authoritarian thing, which some communist nations have developed into. They may be run by authoritarians, but the ideology of communism in and of itself does not require that. Washingtonia official says, in Washingtonia, we are anything because I'm going to lead this until I die, but make sure to give fair rights to everyone, not like North Korea. Makes sense. Ryan says they're better off communists than the ones you have heard of. Agreed. Torrance says Washingtonia absolute or some type of republic. Also, Torrance or anybody else in the chat who wants to talk about communism, Ryan will hit you up. Ryan will give you some good talking points. Francisco says, as far as I know, Hamas is a terrorist organization. ISIS, Hezbollah are terrorist organizations. I get that. Baliga says, we are still here, and TBH, we did part change due to outside pressure, and I still have left-wing leanings. It's just more easy running a moderate left-wing nation than a communist one. I can definitely understand that as well. I think, the development of a communist nation has its own pitfalls and difficulties, very similar to democratic micronations in general. But I do agree that having a more extreme ideology and larger goals obviously makes for more difficulties down the road in trying to sustain your nation. So I can understand that, but definitely don't cave to pressure. You have your own motives for what you do, and ultimately you're going to attract people who support that if you stay honest to what it is that your goals are. Washingtonia says, not sure, but we try to strive to give everyone equal rights and give everyone an opportunity. That's awesome, Washingtonia. Torrance says, AP, what should be the topic of the first video on the official YouTube? I don't know, Torrance. Again, like I said, hit us up. I don't know a ton about your nation. I know you're in Alabama, but I would like to get to know you a little bit better. I've been conflicted on some of your comments here, so I really don't want to. I really don't want to plug it too much because I would want to know more about who you are and what you're trying to do. Manu says, civilization makes wealth a very real and impactful thing in all of our lives, one way or the other. Agreed. Washingtonia says, we are more centrist. I think that's weird as well. I wouldn't call yourself a centrist because some people consider centrist to be like right wing, regardless of how you're saying, well, I'm centrist. But being a centrist between like being leftist and being like a conservative it can still just be like apologizing for conservatism, which, it's tough. I respect what you're saying. If you want to call yourself a centrist, you can, but I think that some people get the wrong idea when you say you're a centrist. Manu says, wealth does not fit alongside skin, culture, or gender. Agreed. Michael Ryan says, it's a shame. So many comments are about Nazism, communism, terrorism, Israel, and all the injustices. Let's talk about how to make change and overcome to mitigate against further issues. Agreed, like the climate crisis, which is something that affects everyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, ideology, whatever. The climate crisis is going to happen to all of us. It's actively happening to all of us. So we can take steps as nations to overcome that and to try and improve that. Michael Ryan, I think you are 1,000,000% hitting the nail on the head. And we are lucky to have you here to keep the conversation on track. Retro says, fun fact, a lot of Nazi officials killed themselves because they were scared what would happen when they lose the war. So being tidbit about Nazis being scared. Agreed. Yep, I think people realize how hateful their ideologies are once they start to see people's reactions to them. Jacob H says, quick question, AP. Could you quickly describe how your nation's businesses work? Greetings from Whiteslandia. Hey, Jacob H, it's good to see you. Glad to see Whiteslandia here. As well, I would say join our Discord for a continued discussion on this because I really want to start getting this out. We actually just opened up the official application for an Aeternian business license, which is a whole thing in and of itself, and I would recommend that you hit that up as we start to advertise it more. The first place we're going to drop it is our Discord channel, so check out our Discord. You can message us privately, message me, Emperor AP, on Discord, or email us at aeternianempire@gmail.com, link in the info in the About Us section of our YouTube channel, and also in the description of a lot of our videos. If you reach out to us, we can describe in more detail and talk to you about maybe how your nation, Whiteslandia, can connect to our businesses and the infrastructure that we have going. But if you're talking about Aeternian governmental industries, Aeternian industries, which are connected to our government and run by the nation itself, are specifically defined around four basic things right now. Media, which are our they can pretty much be broken up into two different groups: media and technology. The media section being to our social media and trying to monetize that, which is a big part of what we do here, trying to spread the word of micronationalism and trying to improve our own connection to the community and help connect other nations together. But as well, we have three other types, which are our metals refining, which has to do with recycling and taking waste metal and making it into finished goods and products, such as ingots, such as coins, jewelry, stuff like that, which we're actively growing and developing. We do that with green energy. We do it all electric by creating an electric arc furnace that we have already developed and have actively made products with, such as our aluminum ingots, which you can purchase on our Imperial Market. It's an Etsy shop we run. If you end up connecting to our website, aeternianempire.wixsite.com/Imperial Market. You can go ahead and do that if you type in Aeternian Empire on Google. If you see aeternianempire.wixsite.com/Imperial Market, you will go to our website. You can find our Etsy and stuff from there where we sell those items. We also have our automation industry, which is big into the development of automation technologies for agriculture, ooh, it looks like it's starting to rain just a little bit. I will have to be wary of what's happening. Which deal with automation technologies of all sorts. Me having a background in electronics really helps out with that. And then finally, you have our industry with energy storage and generation, specifically with renewable energy. We deal in, of course, creating the solar panel stuff that we have right now. Let me go ahead and start moving the stream. I'm not going to end it quite yet, but I am going to start to pick up some of the stuff. You guys will be able to see my solar panel, which I have out right now, slowly collecting sunlight, but right now it seems like it's going to start to collect rain, so we'll have to be a little bit careful with that. But those are our industries right now. Those are each things that we have made money in, so those are actively things that we have created a profit from and generated revenue from in US dollars, and those are all things that have helped us out significantly. So just to show you guys, here is our solar panel that we have been using. If you follow our wire back, one of them just fell off. You will see this battery right here, which we have been using to actually charge up. We've been using the solar panel to charge that today. That's the third one, the fourth one actually, that we have charged up using this solar panel. And so I'm going to bring you guys into the little shop where we have the rest of our solar panels, the rest of our lead acid batteries that we've been charging using this method with pretty much 100% green energy. We have used a wall outlet powered battery charger to top off the batteries once we get them to 12, 13 volts, something like that. But they're pretty much a fully charged battery at that point, so it's not a ton. And that's helped us out significantly. We have 17 viewers. I appreciate you guys jumping in. I'm trying to run before we get caught in the rain to bring this battery in and to show you guys more of what we're doing actively in developing Aeternia. Let me hold this battery a little bit better, and we're running. So that's a lot of the stuff with our industries. That's what we've been up to lately. And those are for, again, our industries. As far as our businesses and the way that our business licenses work, Basically, we're trying to get more people who want to be a part of the Aeternian community and to create businesses, private businesses for themselves to make money, to be able to partner with us so that we can advertise those businesses and end up helping them to reach a larger audience, whether it's other micronations that they can make private contracts with, whether it's advertising them to our citizens to use those things. We have a significant amount of opportunity available for people who want to invest in our government and purchase a $5 a month, which is what I think is going to be the price now, $25 a year, $5 a month business license from the Empire of Aeternia. We may jump that up to $10 a month though and have it be $120 a year. Real quick, these are the 4 batteries that we have. We have this one pretty much fully charged, this one, and this one pretty much fully charged. All of these are car batteries, 12 volt lead acid batteries. They can store a significant amount of energy. This one is the one that we just pulled out of the rain. This one I believe should be pretty much fully charged. We're going to check that out and see if it will hold charge on this battery charger right here. These are 2 that we have had connected to the solar panel before, but they weren't fully operational. We're going to have to add some acid to them and kind of restore these. We have these 2, which I'm going to move and connect to the rest of these. So we have 10 batteries total that we're trying to work with here. 4 that should be actively charged, and then this is 5 right here. And this big one makes 6. This is a marine battery. This is our big boy that we want to work on and fix up. But all of that total makes 10 batteries, 4 that should be actively working and charged, 6 that are not, that we need to continue to repair. But that gives us a good amount for our solar panel to take advantage of. Right now, we're going to connect our battery to this battery charger to see if it is charged. It will actually tell us what percentage our battery is charged to. So I'm going to let this run for a second and keep talking to you guys just to see if it will work. If it doesn't, it'll say it's a dead battery, and we will have to add some hydrochloric sulfuric acid to improve it. Let's see. Let's see if this thing will turn on. Okay. So while we're waiting on this, again, these batteries we know are charged. Hey, there we go. It's trying to analyze it and see if it'll turn on. Uh-oh. Okay, so it says charge, aborted, bad battery, right? So this means that the battery has charged up to some degree, but isn't to where it needs to be for the charger to be able to hold a charge on it, which means that it's probably sulfated. It has a lot of waste that is ultimately what kills batteries, just the corrosion that occurs on the plates. So we're going to have to charge that thing, refill it with some hydrochloric acid like these 2 and probably the rest of these to be able to bring them back up to peak performance. But we're still well on the way. All of these that we have hooked up can still get to probably 11.5 volts, which is technically a dead battery, but still will produce some energy for us. We just want to be able to get them to the 12 or 14 volt, 12 or 13 volt maximum that they should be, like when you would put them in your car. That'll give us the longest lifespan for those batteries. Real quick, I want to hit everybody up while I'm picking up this battery charger. So yeah, Jacob H., I hope that helps to explain some of Aeternian industries and Aeternian businesses to you. Again, we are just starting to create the first application for Aeternian business licenses. I said $5 a month earlier. I'm thinking probably it'll go up to $10 a month just because how heavily we really want to work with these businesses. But that being the case, we will continue to develop. Let me see. Torrance says, good point, Michael. Michael says, thank you, Torrance. Torrance says, AP, it's a joke. I can't be Nazi by definition. I think you could be. I think anybody could be a Nazi. You definitely don't want to, but I do respect the joke. Ryan says, having such a discussion is always important to have if such Nazi factions are to be removed from the group. Agreed. Francisco says, I know it sounds strange, but I want to know, what are your thoughts on Assad? I think he's the best option for now. I disagree. I don't like Assad. Robert says, it's my turn to cook dinner tonight. I want to make fried chicken, but my parents say I don't season enough, so I'm going to throw every seasoning I have in the flour.
I agree with you, Robert. I would love to taste some of your fried chicken. I am a big fried chicken connoisseur myself, so I would be excited to see how yours turns out. Robert says, so a lot of talking powder. I bought a bunch of salt, pepper, lemon pepper, cayenne. I'm going to overload that flour. I believe in you. Socialist Republic of Jack Wall says, hey, good to see you, Socialist Republic of Jack Wall. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the stream. The more that you like the stream, the more that you subscribe and hang out with us, the more watch time hours we get, the more we can promote micronationalism. If you have any questions for us, please drop them down in those comments. Michael Ryan says, I understand all art, but we should, he says, I understand, Ryan, but we should already know at this point. You're right as far as education, but too many people get hung up on simply the points of view. Agreed. Jacob says, Robert, you are the best kind of person. Hey, very cool. I'm glad everybody's vibing with Robert. I like Robert as well. Michael Ryan says, AP's almost caught up. Woo, I'm sure I'm behind again, but I had to run out of the rain. It's now pouring raining. Robert says, thanks, Jacob. Baliga says, it's not that the ideology is hard to develop, it just brings you under less fire, so it's less stressful and more enjoyable. Agreed. Baliga says, it's hard to develop, but not harder than capitalism. Agreed. Rhodesia Yara says, hello from Yara. It's great to have you here, AP. Hey, Rhodesia Yara, it's good to see you. Oh, goodness. Oh, it's literally the faction. They're both in here. Francisco is in here, and their split off is in here. So this is interesting. I guess they're competing with each other in the chat. This is weird. Also, they said it's great to have me here, but it's my stream. What's up? Welcome. We're here to have you, I guess. Francisco said, you disloyal traitor. This is the guy that made our federation and monarchy. Oh, that's interesting. I wish you guys well in figuring out your dispute. That sucks. Ryan says, Assad, like all dictators and authorities, you shouldn't take over other people's countries, by the way. I don't know the whole situation and how it went down, but just start your own micronation. Just don't even like take their name or whatever. Just like leave. Don't try and take people with you. Start your own thing. Ryan says Assad, like all dictators and authoritarians, is bad in how he hurts people and deprives people of liberation. Agreed. Robert says Assad is quite terrible. Ryan says he is. Robert says Ryan he is. Rhodesia says, why am I disloyal traitor? What? I am disloyal to a dictator who just wants more power? Why are you? I don't understand what's happening. Retro says, is Ryan, that is the real question. Interesting. Rhodesia says, no, I want freedom. I'm fighting for it together with Psycholia and Christina's Imperium. Why are y'all doing that though? Like, why not just create your own micronation? And then ally with their stuff later. Casnaria said, Torrance, how are you not a Nazi by definition? I am not accusing you. I just wasn't here and I'm trying to see what's going on. Agreed. I don't think there's anybody who couldn't be a Nazi. You know, like it's just interesting. Jack Wall says, regardless of economic preference, the micronational community as a whole should accept each other as long as no one is seriously getting oppressed or injured. Agreed. That's well said, Jack Wall. I completely agree. Hey, Empire of Tikawania joined us. Hey, Empire of Tikawania. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Please like the stream if you haven't already. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already. Only like 50% of our subscribers subscribe, and it really limits the amount of people who can see our content and get stuff out there. So the more that you guys subscribe to us and hit all notifications, hit the notification bell, go to all notifications, that allows us to really spread our reach in the community and allows us to have bigger and better conversations like this. It also allows us to grow our Discord so people can talk and make alliances and stuff. People are having alliance conversations and disputes and everything in the chat right now, and that's all thanks to you guys bringing them in here. The more people are in here, the more people get notified about the stream, which means that more people have the chance to join us. A lot of people don't find out about our streams and miss them because YouTube doesn't notify them because we don't have enough clout around our streams. So hype these streams. Scream at YouTube and say, algorithm, support micronationalism. Do it. Do it. Support micronationalism. And we'll get it going. We will get these people in the stream. Michael Ryan says, hey Michael Ryan, how you doing? Retro says, we got something going down here. Yeah, legitimately. There's like beef between Yara and Francisco, who also owns Yara. It's a competing thing. It's weird. Rhodesia said, you are nothing but a dictator similar to Sosisu. What? I don't understand that one. Retro says, are you guys in an active disagreement? Yes, that's exactly what's happening, Vincent. Fake Name says, Rhodesia Yara, have you considered incursion to remove your dictator? Casnaria, you're playing both sides. What are you doing here? Casnaria doesn't care which side they're supporting. They're just saying, hey, whoever wants to use incursion, then, oh goodness. Casnaria is just trying to pitch incursion to whoever will accept it. Retro Film says referendum democratic means incursion should be last result, in my opinion. Agreed. Ryan says George Orwell once wrote a series of critical essays titled All Art is Propaganda. Ooh, very cool. And I respect that. Fake News says it doesn't look like Franco would care for the results of a referendum. I didn't know where your name came from, Ryan, but that's cool. I'm glad I know the reference now. Fake Name says it doesn't look like Franco would care for the results. That matter though? Like it's their micronation. They can do whatever they want with it. Francisco says, fake name, he's spreading lies. I was never a dictator. Have evidence of him forcing other MPs to vote on his resolution in Parliament. That's wild. Benjamin says, hello. Hey, Benjamin, it's good to see you. Retro says, wait, really? Can I find the book online? I'd like to read that. I'm a fan of Mr. Orwell's work. Very nice. We got Ryan plugging George Orwell's books to Vincent. Very cool. Casnaria says, Franco, you yourself once described yourself as a dictator. Besides, you named yourself after a fascist dictator. Why would I believe you? Agreed. Again, though, like, I don't know. It's so tough because people's micronations are just their own thing. I don't think you should have your micronation taken from you. It's rough. Ryan says, the essays have been compiled into a book which can be purchased. Ryan says, I don't have a book version. I downloaded a PDF I found on essays. Rhodesia says, we need to topple them as fast as possible. Why don't you just leave? Just leave and create your own micronation and don't care about what other people are doing. If you create your own thing, then you can enjoy it in peace without ever having to talk to that person ever again. Elijah says, what hell have you charged with the DIY solar panel? Also loving the rain sounds. That's a great question. First off, I'm glad to see that. If you haven't seen these, I showed them a minute ago. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I will go 4. I'm showing you the charger right now. 1, 2, 3 batteries that we know are good and well charged. That should lead to 4 in a minute because this one just came off the charger. This is the one that we just pulled off the solar panel. And so we are needing to upgrade a few of these, replace the sulfuric acid in them, maybe, drain some of them and fix them. But this is an interesting development. We are well on our way. If we string all of these together, we can have a significant amount of power just at our fingertips to be able to run small lights like LED lights that are very low power and that we can run for a significant amount of time. That's nice because out in Vitae right now, we don't have any power source. So we can easily set this up and have, days or weeks worth of power right at our fingertips for very small scale purposes. We can either run water heaters, water pumps, stuff like that as we get bigger and bigger and start to implement all 10 of these. And there's a lot that we will be able to do. Sorry for touching my finger in front of the camera, guys. I did not intend to do that. Francisco said, topple me. You can keep dreaming. That won't happen. Again, why don't you guys just part ways? This doesn't make any sense. Rhodesia, Fagnan says, Rhodesia Yara, I would be willing to support you with military action if you embrace incursion, and of course I need time to get legionary. Stop! Casnaria. That's ridiculous. Stop. Why are you doing that? Why not just let people do their own things? Rhodesia says, I don't want to let another 64 people under his rule because he's a ruthless dictator. That's why I don't want my own thing. But it's not your thing, though, either. Just separate the thing. It doesn't matter. I don't want another 64 people to suffer under his rule. Is he kidnapping them in a basement? If they have the right to leave at any time, then they either want to be there or they don't. I cannot judge the person's rule. I'm not saying that they're the best person to rule the day. I don't know. What I can say is, if there are people who are voluntarily choosing to be a part of their nation, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. It's not your thing. Leave them alone. If you don't like the way that they do things, start your own nation and speak out against their nation. And then get support for your thing. But don't bully people. Don't try and take other people's citizens away from them. Everybody's trying to do their own thing. leave him alone, dude. Like, I really don't know. I don't know the full aspects of the situation. I don't think anybody should be treating their citizens poorly either, but I think that people should leave each other's micronations alone. Don't try and cause civil wars within people's micronations. Just leave. Just leave and say, I didn't like what they were doing. Robert says, I'm writing a story about a second civil being doing it for a month now. Hey, congratulations, Robert. Robert says, in AP, you were featured as a warlord in North Alabama where you live. Oh, interesting. I goodness. Oh, so you're talking about a second civil war? I appreciate you like writing a book about me and like adding us into the thing. I really hate war though. Like if you were gonna accurately describe me in a book, a fictional book, I think you should put me as opposed to war as humanly possible. Because that would be the legitimate thing. If a war broke out, I'd be going, no, we're just gonna leave everything alone. We're just gonna keep ducking out from these battles as hard as possible. Because we're not trying to get into a war. We're trying to promote economic security and peace. Um, Baliga said dramas in the chat. I cannot get involved, but there's still drama. Agreed. I'm seeing this. Francisco said, how am I a dictator? I gave you free election. I gave you prosperity. I gave you election because Serbia didn't want to. I'm giving you financial support. Am I a dictator? Torrance said, fake name, I'm not Aryan. I don't believe in Aryan supremacy. I'm a mutt. Interesting. Baliga said two Benjamins in the chat. Agreed. Fake name says you don't have to be Aryan. You just have to see your race as superior. Agreed. That's what Nazis are. Elijah says, I'm so hyped for DIY green energy. Also, the heck is going on with everyone in the chat? It's an absolute crazy thing. Somebody whose nation has like fractured into different ideologies now has their like rival in the chat and they're going back and forth. Benjamin says, have you thought of using lithium batteries? I have. We had a few lithium batteries. However, these batteries we were able to get 100% for free. These were dead lead acid batteries that were given to us for free. We don't have a ton of money to get lithium ion batteries. We've been trying to salvage some from computers, from little things that have from phones, little things that have them, but it's hard to get the same amount of power that you can get that we got for free from these lead acid batteries from the lithium ion. They're a lot lighter. They have a high power density in comparison to lead acid. But for right now, we just don't have the same amount of lithium ion to compare to the amount of storage we're getting with the with the lead acid. But that's a great question. We are looking into doing that to diversify the amount of energy that we have, as well as to increase our energy density. Fake name says because he's a fascist. I get you. Torrance says the superior race is the human race until the aliens arrive. I appreciate your jokes, Torrance. Ryan says the real Franco wasn't a fascist dictator. Franco was an authoritarian conservative. Franco didn't meet the fascist minimum. He sought to prevent fascist revolution from overthrowing him. Francisco's interesting take, Ryan. Francisco says any citizen can leave at any moment, and also only one citizen left since our existence. So you see, citizens are happy with my rule. Agreed, and I feel like that's the ultimate point. If you're unhappy with someone else, you shouldn't try to like bully them into like doing the thing that you want or like taking people away from supporting them. Just start your own thing. If you think you have a better way to do it, don't call it by the same name as someone else's thing. Don't try and convince other people to badmouth that person. Just leave and do your own thing. And if your thing is truly better, then you can get support without ever having to speak ill of the other person. You can just say, it wasn't for me and I did something. And that's fine. Fake name says, if you leave something and don't fix it, then you are guilty for its faults, just as much as its leader. Disagree completely. Disagree completely. You know what I mean? If something has existed long, long before you, you shouldn't, especially if it would take so much time and effort. Okay, let me give you a thing. People fleeing the Syrian war, right? Like there are refugees who were fleeing war in Syria because the Syrian government and the issues that were going on at the time and are still ongoing required people to leave. Syrian civil war, people fleeing and trying to save their lives and their families, right? Are you saying then that those people are just as guilty as Assad and the other people in Syria who were, the dictatorial regime that they were trying to take down? No, I don't think they are at all. There are plenty of people who just didn't want to be a part of the conflict. They didn't care what happened. They just wanted to leave. They did not want to be in a gunfight. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think that's a great position to take. If that's not your interest in spending your entire life and risking your life to fight a battle that isn't yours, or if you feel like it is yours, if you just simply do not want to participate, you do not have to. And nobody should judge you for doing that. You have the option and should try and take every option to leave. No one can blame you for that. Kaznari, I completely disagree with you. You lead a council of local towns like a self-defense. I definitely appreciate that. I wish you good luck. I would love to read your book. Although, dang, man, I'm curious to see how the self-defense militia thing works out. I am excited to see, though. I would love to read your book, Robert. Retro says, humans are the most intelligent species so far. I find it far-fetched we're the only life form in the universe. There's got to be something out there. I completely agree. A lot of scientists talk about the concept that because space is expanding so fast, it may not be that there's nothing out there, but that it may be very difficult to ever reach another intelligent civilization simply because the more that your civilization develops, the further away every other civilization gets from you. It's also theorized that we are in a particularly empty part of the universe. We are in smack dab in the center of, I believe, Boots Void, which is a huge dead zone of activity effectively in the universe. And we are surrounded by that. So Fake Name says there's a good quote for that. My country, if right, to be kept right, if wrong, to be set right. If you choose to, if not, you can just leave, and that's perfectly fine. Elijah Wood says AATWAP as opposed to war as possible. Yes, I completely agree. AATWAP. That's why. Goodness. Benjamin says, do you have PayPal AP? That is a great question. If you want to support us, Benjamin, you can support us in several ways. So firstly, if you want to support us on a monthly level, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/the EOA. That is a great way to support us as well. If you want to do a fi.com/Aeternia, AETERNIA. If you go to either one of those, you can support us. Patreon is, again, a monthly thing. Ko-Fi allows you to do either monthly payments or one individual payment. And our Ko-Fi stuff, as well as the Patreon, but our Ko-Fi stuff is funding now, Vitay's development. So if you want to support us, instead of going via PayPal, Ko-Fi is the best way to do that. And it legitimately does help us. We have a lot planned. We have to buy a culvert and some chert to create a driveway to allow more people access to our land so that we can install a septic and well system on there, as well as a electrical grid system. So having just a little bit more money, $10, $20, something like that is huge for us to be able to purchase the things that we need to keep going. And for me to be able to buy food for my family and stuff, it's a big deal. If you want to support us that way, ko-fi.com/Aeternia. It really does mean a lot. You can also see there, if you want to invest in a specific thing, we have what's called a commission page on our Ko-Fi, which talks about specific perks that you get for different tiers of donations. So very similar to a Kickstarter campaign where there are different tiers for how much you can pledge and different donation amounts. Ko-Fi has the same thing. We have some that are in small amount for example, just a shout out or a special video, a special thank you video, all the way up to getting to see special behind the scenes footage for when we go to Microcon in August, all the way up to having your nation's flag or your name be put on Vitay's land as a part of our Victory Garden, as a part of our Garden of Nations project that we're developing. So we want to do that to be able to show off people's nations to visitors of Vitay and of the Empire of Aeternia. So if you're interested in any and all of that, ko-fi.com/Aeternia. That's ko-fi.com/Aeternia, AETERNIA, or patreon.com/TheEOA. You can support us either way that way. It means a lot. That's a great question, though, Benjamin. And if you want to learn more, definitely hit me up in our Discord via DMs or Aeternianempire@gmail.com. Robert says, and you aren't actually a warlord. A UN report on the war called you one. Oh, interesting. Rhodesia said, stop spreading lies. Nobody supports you, not even your family. Why are you going so hard on that? Like, it seems like you're bullying really hard, Rhodesia, Yara. Chill. Francisco says, wow, I never expected this from you. You really disappointed me now. I said never said one bad word about you, and you say this to me. AP, I really hope that you saw what this guy said. Yeah, the comments are taking forever for me to go through, but yes, I did, 100%. That's messed up. That's wrong of you, Rhodesia Yara. Why are you doing that? Baliga says, gotta go for now. Goodbye. See you, Baliga. We miss you already. Retro Films, but the closest galaxy to us is Alpha Centauri, so do you think it's possible even if it's just bacteria or bugs? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So it's going to take a long time. You know, there are concepts in sci-fi called generation ships where people will get on, and after, 30 or 40 generations of people, like, hundreds of years of space travel, eventually we get there. That's 100% within our reach. Right now, with things like solar sails that can bring us to a fraction of the speed of light via the energy and power of the sun. Fake name says Rhodesia Yara has 80% of the country, then it doesn't sound like Franco is as popular as he says, using the percentages that Franco gave. Agreed, but I do think that people can get conned out of stuff. Like, I don't think I think that the numbers that they're giving are really weird, and it sounds like kind of a role play thing a little bit. I'm curious to see what this actually is. Torrent says, citizens of my country have a constitutional right and duty to overthrow a dictatorship. Very cool. I wish them good luck, Torrance. Retro says, AP, in the words of Dutch Vanderlyn, I have a plan for getting money. Hey, very cool. I'm excited to see it. Again, please hit me up on Discord DMs, and I would love to talk to you about it, Vincent. Washingtonia says, my friend is currently making his own country, so I'll have diplomatic relations once he makes it. I can't wait, Washingtonia. I'm excited to see that development. Big name says, same. I would prefer that my micronation remains an empire, but if the emperors who will succeed me are tyrannical, I want them to be overthrown. And if I'm tyrannical, then the same for me. Very cool, Cusnaria. Although, again, I think one of the benefits of micronationalism is that you can leave whenever you want. So I find it hard to believe that that would become a problem for very long. Rhodesia Yara says, his father left for milk. He has no dad. He is fatherless, and soon everyone will leave him. What the hell, Rhodesia? Chill. You're legitimately just bullying people. Bro, I'm about to block you. Calm down. I don't know why you're so mad. This is legitimately like just bullying. Robert saying, Yara, chill. Yes, everybody wants you to chill. If you want to enjoy the stream, enjoy the stream. If not, I'm going to kick you. I appreciate everybody being here. We have 11 viewers right now, and I definitely don't want to lose the viewer. But if I have to, I'm more than happy to kick you for bullying. I really don't care. Francisco said he's good now, huh? Fake name. Yeah, this guy's being a jerk. Need to chill. I'm sorry for getting mad, everybody, but this is ridiculous. You do not come in here talking like that. What's the matter with you? Francisco says he's good now. Benjamin says, I will stay our constitution with you. Please do. Again, aeternianempire@gmail.com, or you can privately message us on our Discord. Yara says, Robert says, Yara, chill. Washington says, what the? Robert says, you're going to win the war, Yara. What? Washington says, what's happening? Robert says, okay. Elijah says, please just chill. Agreed. Everybody needs to calm down. Retro says, I know this is off topic, but what's everyone's opinion on pickles? I love pickles. Pickles are really cool. You can pickle. You can pickle pickles. You can pickle cucumbers. You can pickle eggs. There's so much stuff you can do with pickles. As well, one of the things that we are trying to do is to create sustenance farming, but we're trying not to get into too much agricultural produce. We'll see how things develop in the future, but I don't know. We're moving forward slowly but surely. Fake name says no more fighting in the comments. Robert says yeah. Fake name says pickles are the worst. Why are pickles the worst, Cusnaria? Pickles are good. I think a lot of people like pickles. Do you like eggs, Cusnaria? Also, is pickles being the worst Cosneria's thing, or is it what is it? Also, Nate said reported Yara. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate it. This is wild, for real. Not cool, Yara. So, Nate, thank you for joining us as well. I appreciate you hopping in. Nate, if you're the same Nate from previous streams, I have not. Ooh, Retro says Vitae Farmers Market. Yes, I have already thought of that deal, and I'm really hype about it. One of the biggest issues is we're not in an area that's like by a roadside or something, so attracting people to the farmers market may be a little bit difficult. 100%. I have wanted to do that for a long time. Fake name says it's a personal thing, not a government thing. Makes sense. Okay, cool. So it's not the government's position that pickles are bad, it's just yours. I respect that. And I'm sure that your culture will develop around that if people, have a similar taste to you. Manu said, I thought about something yesterday. There are only two micronational movies, according to my knowledge. One is, Kikassia, and what's the other? Francisco says, Nate, you reported me or this guy? I think they reported, the other guy, Francisco. I don't think they reported you. Robert said, but the story, AP, you are surrounded by black supremacists, white supremacists, and the Appalachian Republic. Why is it a race thing? Hold up, I don't want to be involved in a race thing. Oh no, I don't want to be fighting racists. I don't want to be supporting racists, but I don't want to be in anywhere near racist. Why are you putting me in the racist story? Oh no. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see how your thing works out. I'm excited to read it, but it makes me concerning. Elijah says, I love pickles. They're amazing. And if they're homemade, they can be stored for a long time. Very cool, Elijah. I agree. Robert says, so yeah, footnote on the map. Makes sense. Benjamin says, can you put your email? Sure, I can. Let me see if I can add. Dang. I don't think it's really going to allow me to add into the comments on here. Can somebody put aeternianempire@gmail.com? AeternianEmpire@gmail.com. No spaces, no capital letters. If somebody could throw that into the chat for Benjamin, it would mean a lot to me. Retro said we can put signs on the road and put directions on the sign and hopefully get the attention of Alabama locals. I completely agree. I would also love to talk to other farmers around here and see if we can't get some kind of support for that. Nate said Rhodesia. Yes. Very cool. I'm glad to see Nate from Rhodesia here. Like I said, I know I've seen you in previous streams, and I appreciate you being here. Manu says Rose Island is a Netflix movie. Yes, I remember that as well. Aeternia needs a Netflix movie. Go on, Aeternia. Where's our Netflix movie at? We gotta hit it up. I can't wait for one day when we can start to achieve stuff like that. Francisco says supremacy is bad. Agreed. Nate says he's saying you're in Alabama in the Rust Belt. That makes sense. We are in Alabama. That is accurate to the location. Big Name says I agree with you there, Franco. Robert says Kikassia, I remember that movie was so low quality. I'm still cringing at those cannon effects. I agree, but it's funny. That's I think a lot of the way that people run into micronationalism as well is from some kind of Molossia thing, from Rose Island Netflix stuff. There's I still haven't watched Rose Island Netflix movie. I need to watch it, but it's interesting. Torrance said, at Robert GC, thanks for bringing light to the reality of pro-black extremism and black supremacy movements. I'm interested to see Torrance say that. It sounds like I don't know how much it's based in reality, but sure, there are black extremists and black supremacy movements. However, I'm curious as to how connected to reality, specifically Robert's story is, simply because it sounds like he's doing like a Civil War Part 2 thing, which has to take some kind of direction, I guess, fictional direction. But I'm curious to see how tied to historical movements it is. Manu says they never made that Micronations comedy with Jack Black that was being planned. Oh, what was that one? Was there a Micronations comedy with Jack Black? Did they have an ad for it? I want to see that. Hold up. Who was doing that, Manu? Nobody told me about this. Robert says like the canon in Caucasia was so agreed. Hyperrealization, Torrance says hyperrealization is a part of the agenda to collapse Western civilization. Interesting. I definitely agree that racism is a big detractor to progress and hurts everybody involved. Robert says, like when you said Caucasia, I just thought those stupid canon effects. Agreed, agreed. Caucasia is definitely a little bit silly. Manu says, well, it's a 10-year-old channel awesome movie. Oh, interesting. Still, I would love to look it up. Channel awesome. 10 years. Again, do you, Manu, if you're in our Discord, can you like send me a link to that at some point? I would love to see it. Or just any ad for it or anything. Francisco says Kickassia and then's laughing. Robert says, yeah, the story, the South is in a race war. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Let's hope not. Retro Films and History says, I'm really enjoying these pickles. I love pickles so much. Hey, very cool. Vincent's like, I had an idea one day while eating pickles and thought, Aeternia could do this. And the rest is history. No, no, no. I agree. I'm excited, Vincent. I'm excited to talk to you about it. Fake Name says, too bad Rose Island was destroyed by the Italian Navy. Agreed. Same thing almost happened to Sealand. Um, um, Fake Name says, too bad. Rhodesia says, well, all of you are cowards defending a dictator. I really need to say that I'm disappointed. I'm sorry you're disappointed. I'm not saying that I'm defending or understand what's happening in the situation whatsoever. What I'm saying is if you're trying to take the high road and be the honorable person, don't insult people's family. Don't be bullying people. Just leave and prove that you're the better man. But you're not. You're not doing that. You're bullying people. I'm telling you to stop bullying. Your cause does not justify these actions that you're committing. Fake Name says, hey, I didn't defend him. I'm on your side. I even offered sending the legions. Casnaria, stop. You're hyping him up. Washingtonia says, LOL. Crafter says, hello. I'm so excited. I just won 2 silver cups in 2 weight class white champions of the Binalo. Hey, very cool, Crafters. First off, congratulations to your successes. It sounds like is that in Minecraft thing? Is that like a boxing thing? Because weight classes sounds like a boxing thing or some kind of fighting thing. First off, congratulations. We're proud of you. We're excited to see your sportsmanlike accomplishments. And I'm excited to hear more about what you're up to. Torrance says, racism in the American South is overblown. It's like living in a minstrel show. Kind of funny, kind of. I think he means to say ironic. But he's saying kind of erotic, which makes it sound like he's sexually attracted to it. I don't think that's what you mean, Torrance. Maybe it's a meme and I'm misunderstanding, but oh goodness, Torrance, Torrance, no. Uh, Manu says, Rhodesia Yara, I wasn't paying attention. Is the dictator micronational? Yes, that's literally what it is. It's somebody who's trying to create a breakaway state from someone else who created a country, and they're saying, oh, because they're a dictator, so we have the right to say that their dad left them. It's bullying. It's weird. It's weird, like targeting stuff. I don't like it. Benjamin said permaculture would be a good thing for your farming. Permaculture, I completely agree. One of the things that we've looked into for a long time is connection to as many different types of natural ecology that we can. I personally love crawfish, getting into crawfish farming and stuff like that I think would be really cool as well. In order to do that, you need like a full-scale ecosystem, so you'd have other fish you'd be growing, you'd have plants and stuff, water-based plants like rice, potatoes, stuff like that. That you would be growing. I said potatoes, maybe potatoes. I know rice for sure because it's like water based. Yeah, I'd be excited to show that off. Francisco says, just leave. We don't need you here. Stay on Discord. Torrance says, no, I mean erotic. Torrance is like, I am attracted to this. That's interesting. Good luck, Torrance. This is an interesting conversation. Retro says, also, I'm not sure why someone would reform Rhodesia. It was an apartheid government like South Africa pre-1990, so I'm not down with someone naming their micronation after a heavily segregated government. Agreed. We've talked about that before. That's not a good thing. I think that's part of the reason why they're not on here as Rhodesia anymore. They're on here as Nate, which I appreciate Nate for coming back. Agreed. Rhodesia is concerning. Fake name says, Franco, I was told to leave once I almost unsubscribed because of it. So don't say that. If you're bullying people and harassing people, I am like okay with people leaving for real. I appreciate every single subscriber here. I appreciate all the support, but we do want a positive community. So I definitely do not want bullying. I do not want people supporting warfare. I do not want people assisting others in bullying. If you do that, I am fine with people leaving. I really am. Manu says the Nostalgia Critic and other content reviewers did some movies together. Kick-Assy is just one of them. Agreed. I really want to see more of that. Torrance said, AP, you know that Southern whites and blacks share a history. No matter how bad it was, our cultures are quite similar. Absolutely. I'm not trying to say that there isn't a history there. I was just laughing at the whole erotic thing that you put. Manu says the characters have their own backstories and lore that not everyone would understand if they don't know about Channel Awesome. Makes sense. I agree. I have seen some of that. I've seen Kick-Assy enough to see that there's a whole bunch of like specific one-off characters that jump in and I'm sure are connected to other projects. Robert says, however, the story Operation Rainbow ends up bombing new African and CSA targets across the South, and Vitae is bombed due to them thinking you have sympathies. Oh, goodness. Interesting. Okay. Crafter says, oh yeah, it was boxing. Congratulations on those boxing victories. Aeternia forever, Crafters. I'm glad to see your successes. Robert says, Channel Awesome was kind of terrible. Fair enough, but they made funny content. Torrance says, at Crafters you box. Crafter says, I'm also ordering military gear soon. And Crafter says, yeah. Sponge Tracks says, hi. Hey, Sponge Tracks, good to see you. Crafter says, I box alongside world champions and European champions. Wow. Crafter's doing some serious fighting out here. Sponge Track said, I own a country called Wagnerland. Very cool. Torrance is awesome. Crafter says, that's great. Hey, it's good to have you, Wagnerland. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And if you are new, definitely make sure to subscribe. We are the Empire of Aeternia. We are a micronation trying to change the world. We've been here for 5 years and are going strong, trying to reach monetization. So the more you hang out in the stream, the more you support us, the closer you push us toward that goal. So thank you very much for hanging out. Torrance says, awesome. Crafter says, that's great. Elijah says, AP, have you heard of amaranth? It's a pretty flower, but it's also a pseudograin that has much more nutrition than corn or wheat and is drought tolerant and native to North America. That's cool, Elijah. I have not heard of amaranth. I take that back. I think I've heard of amaranth as the name of like fictional characters. I don't think I've ever heard of amaranth as like the flower itself. I would love to grow amaranth. That sounds really cool. I need to Google it. Crafter says this is a cool website. Robert says, thanks, Crafters. Robert says the movies were only enjoyable if you were drunk. They enabled Predators and Doug Walker is so smug. And so much more. Channel Awesome is nasty. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize that. Like I said, I've watched Kick-Assy, but I have not heard of the lore or backstory of Channel Awesome itself. Sponge Shrek says, I just elected myself president. Congratulations on that self-appointment / election. Crafter says the military surplus used, you can. Oh, very cool. Manu says Kevin Ball could be considered the antagonist, though he's barely in the movie. He appears more as Fritz von Baugh, Minister of Making Things Orderly. I remember that. Yep. He was definitely a feature character. Crafter says buy uniforms for as low as $4 with a good quality. Oh, very cool. Manu says one of the many ministers featured on the Molossia website that look and sound exactly like Kevin Baugh. Yes. Ironic how that happens, huh? Sponge Track said, I started my country 10 days ago because I was very bored. Well, congratulations. I wish you success and prosperity in your endeavors. And we have been around for quite a long time, so if you ever have any questions, definitely check out some of our old videos we've done about a lot of topics in micronationalism, including, creating symbols for your nation, creating culture, creating an economy, and I wish you the best. Retro says, I don't want to take away from the conversation, but despite Aeternia having a coat of arms, if it ever happens, a naval jack. So we're not interested in a coat of arms. I've talked about that before. We have the we have the arrow of progress, which is the symbol on our flag. That is what we use as effectively our coat of arms. But we have never had a coat of arms, even though it doesn't necessarily mean, like a military literally taking up arms or like a banner for an armed group. It still ties back to a history of that, feudal families and whatnot. And so we don't want to be associated with that at all. We do not have a coat of arms. We're never interested in having a coat of arms because we're never interested in having anything that is even associated with or considered aligned to historically a military. We're trying to limit that as much as possible. Although we do pick and choose where we do that. Retro says a naval jack. I would have to look into that a little bit more to understand the history of the naval jack. But um, again, I think for most things, we're going to just stick with the arrow of progress. So, if we had a ship, we'd probably just put the arrow of progress on a ship. If we had, we're flying flags, we're going to put, of course, the arrow of progress on the flags, on patches, on anything else that we have. That is our defining symbol and the way that we are known. Crafter says, "Huh, that's funny. Well, same. Hey, very cool." Big Name says the Conch Republic is probably the most successful micronation. Um, hmm. I don't know. Like modern, like currently, I would say I feel like I disagree. Like, yeah, they are successful because they're a part of Florida and because they have a lot of advertising revenue. But I don't know necessarily that they consider themselves still a micronation. Like, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because they skirt the line, in my opinion. But they can call themselves that, I suppose. I know historically they consider themselves that, but they stopped their activism a long time ago. Crafter says my micronation is just for fun. Congratulations, and I wish you well on that. Crafter says Sponge Track says we have 24 citizens. Dang, and you just started your micronation. Congratulations on that. I wish you well, and I'm excited to see how well your 24 citizens develop. Crafter says we also have a goal to be independent. Crafter says both for fun and for a reason. Very cool. That's always important to have a defining reason for what you're doing. Torrent says Spontrack's house. Spontrack said I got people I knew IRL to join. I had like 50, but they were inactive, so be careful, says Crafters. Agreed. Retro says sorry. No need to be sorry. Not at all. Robert says, oh, and when Mr. Walker criticizes for the effects movies, he forgets the awful effects of Suburban Nights and Kikassia. Agreed. Crafters says, my mistake was we did too much administration for no reason. It happens. Retro says, I was worded that question wrong. I was asking if you had one. No, we do not have one. We don't have either. We have our arrow of progress. Fake Name says, if you're still here, I will offer Franco, if you're still here, I will also offer you legions for incursion if you're willing to adopt the incursion model. The first one to adopt the model will receive. Yeah, so you don't even care about the side, Casnaria. You're just trying to plug your incursion thing. That's messed up, dude. If you're going to pick a side, pick a side. Don't just be like, I'll support whoever's doing my thing. I don't like that. Robert says, like the effects are canny, quote Doug Walker, while his cannons look cannier than cranberry juice. Manu says, I once drew an idea for an Aeternian coat of arms just because. And I appreciate that, Manu. I always love people creating new culture stuff for us. Daniel says, hello from Yara. And no, I'm not bullying people. This was a fake account of a citizen of ours. He lost citizenship at the same moment we found out about it. Hey, thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. I don't think you specifically are bullying people. I was commenting on that other person. I hope you don't bully people, and it seems like you're not supportive of that, which is good. Once again, I have no stake in this disagreement between the two of you, the two of your groups. However, I just don't want people bullying people on my channel, and I'll never stand for that. Fake Name says they still do tourism based around the defense of the nation against the U.S., but that's tourism. That's not necessarily activism. Retro says, yeah, Naval Jack is so if Aeternia ever has a shipping company, it has to have a flag so it doesn't get sunk by countries' navies or be considered pirates. I think we would flag. Iron Sharpness says, I made an ideology called K. Very cool. Daniel says, and also I'm South African, but my grandpa came here from Serbia in the 1980s. Very cool. Robert says, the Contrapublic is also Molossi. Very cool. What's Gabeism? If macros can do it, why can't I? Great question. We have a lot of stuff here. Sponge Track says, also, I'm blacklisted someone because she took the list of citizens from me. I'm sorry to hear that. Manu says, but yeah, Heard stuff about making Kikasi. Apparently, people were involved were well treated by Walker and the guys in charge during the time. Matt says, I would like to be a sideline reporter looking at micronational drama, etc. Whoops, wrong account. I would love to have you as a part of that, Matt. That means a lot. If you can join us and create content, that would help a ton. I would really, really appreciate it. Please do get in touch for us to talk more about that. Fake Name says a micronation does not have to be activist. They do not have to be activists, but the way that they started is much different than the way that they are now. So saying that they are the most powerful micronation currently, or most successful micronation currently, I think is a little bit of a reach. Iron says Gabeism is socialism but allows religious people. Socialism doesn't deny religious people. I think you are confused, Iron. Robert says, Jaya, yeah, read Not So Awesome. It has all the bad stuff about Channel Awesome. Oh, very cool. Crafter says, I'm going to go. See you, Crafters. Jidonia joined in. Sup, Jidonia. Robert says, like over 10 years. Wow. Jidonia says, hello, OP. Hello, Jidonia. SpongeBob retracted. Sponge Tracks retracted. Manu says, also apparently Channel Awesome is way smaller now because of the other content creators who given unfair treatment and left. Makes sense. It sounds like they had some issues and some stuff that bothered them. So 100% understand that. Sponge Track said, I'll make a YouTube channel. Hey, congratulations. Wish you well. Once again, we have been out here for about 3 hours, 10 minutes now. So I think I am going to go ahead and go check in on Tiff, see what's up for the rest of the day. But I love you guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out and supporting us. Again, we've had like 10 or 11 viewers this whole stream, so I think we're going to have a significant amount of watch time for this stream. And I can't wait to continue to progress as a nation. I'm excited to talk about the future of Aeternia. I'm excited to talk about continual citizenships, progress we have with different alliances, with different citizenships, and different things that we're doing with Vitae and our land. So I appreciate you all. I'm excited to talk to you more. And until next time, Aeternia forever, everyone. See you guys. Have a good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see you all, and I will see you all, boom, 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 next time. Peace.